This is a great collection.
Yeah, these are all from Plasticell. Look, even the sunglasses come off on Biggie.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty dope.
Yeah,
You got
it's
John
awesome.
Wick. John Wick and his pit bull. Richard
This is
Pryor.
awesome.
Yeah, I got Kanye, Bruce Lee.
But the glasses on Biggie is amazing.
I know. Well, this guy's amazing. Shout out to Fong from Plasticell. He makes some dope shit. Yeah, he's amazing. But not as amazing as that shit you did in the green room, man. David just did some card wizardry that it's one thing that you see when you see that shit on TV, you're like, man, if I was there, I'd see some shit. I'd know what's going on. But when you see it in real life, you're like, what is happening here?
Yeah, it's way better like in person than all.
Oh, yeah. Well, at the end, I don't want to give anything away, but at the end, literally a man is holding one of his wrists and another guy's holding the other wrist, and he still does the card trick, and we still can't figure out what happened. When did you get started? How old were you?
So I was about 5 years old when I started playing with cards, but I didn't know what they were for really. So I just had a deck of cards that I carried everywhere. But I liked the way it felt, you know, just like it felt like something cool. So eventually a librarian was like, oh, we got this like magic self-working card trick book in. Do you want to learn something? And I was like, yeah, of course. And she shows me that silly self-working mathematical trick that's a long process to do, but it's still a cool outcome. Like, oh, I found your card, right?
Right.
And my mother, I used to wait for her at the library, and she'd come get me when she was done. And when she came, I said, can I show you this trick? And the librarian was excited for me to do it to her, which is what I do to my friends' kids, and I teach them a trick and make them really good at it, and then I'm so excited to see them do it, you know?
Right.
Okay. So my mother comes and I do the trick, and my mom goes crazy. Like it was like it was the best thing ever. And so but that began the love of wanting to learn new tricks because I wanted to keep making her, you know, react, you know, happy or whatever. So that was basically the fundamental start of it. And then also she would take me to Coney Island all the time. And you know, on the side, on the boardwalk there's those weird freak show performer stuff. So I'd watch those guys, and to me it was all like magical. So that was kind of the beginning of it.
So isn't it funny how one positive experience when you're young can ignite this chain of events?
Yeah, that changes your whole life. By the way, and also, so then the librarian, when I would come, she would give me books, and I would start looking at that little magic section that was between like games and puzzles. I always wished magic would be like not there, like it should be like in art or something, you know, just so it was always like when you want a magic book, it's always like that silly like kids jokey thing. But there's like, so in that section, I pulled out a book, and I was like 6 years old, and I see a guy chained to the side of a building, staring out, looking like death is upon him. And that was Houdini. And I didn't know anything about what that all meant. I looked through the pictures, and he was hanging upside down and stuff like that. But when I went to sleep, I would have these dreams of this guy chained to the side of a building. And that began my curiosity and love of Houdini. And then that began my curiosity of like, not just like the magic trick stuff, but like this stuff. That's, to me, it's more like real.
Yeah, how do those two worlds collide? Because some of the things you're doing, they're just insane endurance and mental exercises. And then other things you're doing are what you would consider magic.
Right. So I love both separately, like independently. Like I always loved, like I had a karate teacher at the YMCA that used to make us all run barefoot in the snow in the winter in Brooklyn. And all the kids were like, you know, we're young. We're like 6, 7. And all the kids were like, you know, and afraid they were going to cut their feet on glass, whatever. And I would run in it. And I felt like I could do this because I wasn't good at other things physically. Like I was born, my feet turned in and stuff like that. So I felt like I could do these things. So then I learned how to hold my breath. And the reason I learned how to hold my breath was simply because I was on the swim team at the Y also, and the other kids would swim back and forth, and they'd destroy me because my feet didn't function perfectly well. And what I learned is that if I didn't breathe, if I just swam, it would save me time because I didn't have to move my head, dip it out, and, right? So I would just swim. And the coach would yell at me, but suddenly I was no longer in last place. I was like now second and sometimes first. And that began my like, oh, God, you can actually do what the coach doesn't think is possible. You could swim there and back without breathing. And then the older kids would come to see me do that, and I would like challenge them. I'd be like, let's see who could stay under the longest, and you can go up and down 5 times. I didn't understand the physiology of it, that like going up and down doesn't help. It's more effective to just sit through the pain and just kind of chill. But I would just sit there and they'd go up and come back down, which makes it worse. And then they'd be out. And I'd
Why does it make it worse?
Because the breath holding thing is all about like a CO2 buildup in your bloodstream, and it's about a tolerance level to it. So if you relax and efficiently keep your oxygen and not make this CO2 buildup more extreme, you can actually hold more efficiently.
So when you have that feeling, everybody has that feeling where you need to breathe. Like, and
it's not an O2 deprivation.
Right.
It's a trigger from a CO2 buildup, which is giving you an alert that, for example, in 20 minutes from now, you will not recover. And I didn't believe that either. So a magician friend of mine who's amazing and one of my like heroes in life, he told me a story as I was doing like Buried Alive and all this thing. He said, you know the Navy SEALs, they black them out underwater so they're not afraid of drowning. And I'm like, that can't, no way. Like, because it seems so abstract to me, So, but it stuck in my brain. And then when I wanted to do the water tank stunt and I started learning about free diving and stuff like that, I suddenly realized blacking out is pretty straightforward. Like you black out and then you get your head above the water, and if you're supervised, you're fine. So when I went to San Diego with the SEALs, I watched what they do, and I actually did it, but I didn't black out. I went back and forth a few times in the pool, but they have that viewing pool, and they rope the SEALs up to some 45-pound weights, and they have to walk across the bottom of the pool, and the instructors are swimming above them, and when the SEALs black out, they cut the rope, bring them up to the top, and they're fine. But what that teaches you is that you do not need to worry about being underwater, because if you're with a team, but by the way, nobody should try this. There is extreme dangers to shallow water blackouts, which lead to death. But if you are in somebody that's training and you have a team and you want to push it, as soon as you black out, it's like getting knocked out. But it feels better. It's not like getting knocked out with a punch. It's like you get knocked out. It's euphoric. Choked
out is euphoric.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Except this one's even better. And then you have all these dreams. No.
You make it sound exciting.
That part of it, whenever I wake up from a blackout, I'm like, whoa.
That's how people wake up when they get choked out.
Really? The same?
Yeah. When people get choked out, they wake up almost like they were dreaming. Like sometimes they think they're at a disco.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, they're like, what?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow. And it's not the best thing in the world for you, but it's way better for you than getting knocked unconscious.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Because the head...
Choked out is it just shuts off the blood to the brain,
right.
and the brain shuts off.
Yeah.
And then it comes back online. But there's no trauma.
Right.
Yeah. But it's not...
Yeah. So it's like a blacking out underwater.
The blacking out underwater thing, probably not a good idea to do too many times, though, right?
No, you could do it. I mean, I've blacked out underwater a lot.
How many
By the way, so...
How many times?
I don't know, like between 20 to 30. I mean, I have
wow.
By the way, you guys were talking about me on the thing about the breath hold thing.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
One time I went 20 minutes and 2 seconds. So I almost did what you were talking about, the length of a show. But I did 20 minutes and 2 seconds, and I had telemetry there, and I had pulmonary experts and everything like that. And my heart rate dropped to 8 beats per minute.
Holy shit.
And they pulled me up because they were freaked out.
They thought you were dying.
Yeah, but back to what I was saying is the reason, besides the Navy SEAL story, that I knew that it made sense was because you hear about the kids in the news, like in 1984 or whatever it was, a kid was under an icy river for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
With nothing, blacked out, unconscious, underwater for 45 minutes. They rescue him out, pull him back, recover him, and full recovery. So there's something that the body does that we don't understand. But if you actualize, so because he blacked out and because it was so cold, the blood shunting occurred. We're all like the same as when you get cold. The blood rushes away from the extremities and protects the vital organs. And because he didn't inhale the water because he was completely out of it, when they recovered him, they didn't even have to get water out of his lungs, and he was perfectly fine.
Wow.
So, but that just shows you that there's like certain levels of what the body can tolerate that we have no idea.
So you, in learning how to swim and learning how to go all the way back and forth and holding your breath, this started this idea of holding your breath for an extreme long period of time. Like, what had been the record before you had, like 20 minutes and how many seconds? 2 seconds?
Yeah.
That's what you did?
Yeah, but that's not the record.
But what had you done before that? What had been your record?
Okay, so when I was a kid, I heard, as I start reading about Houdini, his like proud record of his lifetime, and he's the underwater escape king for 100 years ago, and he was around the best swimmers, and he had access to, and he got up to 3.5 minutes. So by the time I was like early teenager, I got to 3.5 minutes.
And did you think that was a barrier that couldn't be crossed?
Well, I blacked out as I came out, but I didn't know what that all meant, right? So I blacked out. So I was like, okay, that 3:30 seems like the edge. But then when I started working on the actual concept of like how long can you hold your breath for, then I started looking into it. I'm like, oh wow, there's like people that can do 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes. And then there was a hypothetical record of a hypothetical 13-minute record, but no evidence of it, and that was on Pure O2. So it was a hypothetical Pure O2 record of 13.
When you say on Pure O2, what's the process?
That flushes everything out and
so you start
oxygenates
Pure
your body.
O2, you hold on to Pure O2, and then you go under?
I purge really hard on Pure O2, so, which is like hyperventilation, which gets rid of the CO2 and gives you more room for oxygen. And by the way, I just went up to 25,000 feet in an airplane, ascending at 500 feet per minute, doors open and everything, no oxygen. And I was with Luke Akins, who jumped from 25,000 feet with no parachute, landed in that. He was with me and the pilot and 2 other guys. We just right under 25. It was a 24/7, whatever. And I said, let's see who goes hypoxic first, right? So no, but you have to take the O2. You have to take the O2 monitors. You have to be on top, right? So, and I was already in a hypobaric chamber with the FAA at Oklahoma City, and I started purging just to see what it would do, and my oxygen levels shot up, which nobody believes is possible. So I get into the airplane, and we put the monitors on, and everybody's around the same. I was actually lower than Luke. I was like at 90, whatever, 5, 96. He was at like 97. He's like, oh, I'm winning, right, joking with me. And as soon as we crossed 15,000 feet, his slowly is starting to come down, and I start doing the breathing technique, the purging out, like I said, right? My oxygen levels, and we filmed all this, shot up to 98 and then 99% as I went up to 23+ thousand feet. Now, these guys think I'm a magician, so they're like, yeah, like fake news. That's what he wrote on the paper next to the levels because he was recording it. So I took his monitor off of his finger, and he took mine. I put his monitor on my finger, put mine on his. Bang, his was dropping around 70, and mine was 98, 99. Then I switched with everybody on the plane and the oxygen levels with the breathing all the way up to that altitude. And I'm not recommending this because I haven't tested enough in it, but they did stay up at 98, 99. And so my evidence for that was, you hear about all the Sherpas that go up to the top of Everest, up to 29,000 feet, and they're not bringing oxygen. I get it. They're acclimating, but they're still at 29+ thousand feet. So they're doing something that's allowing them to rewire their ability to not go hypoxic.
So this breathing technique, you're essentially exhaling more than you're breathing in. So you're breathing a small amount in, and then
that I fill up everything for full, but I mean full like top to bottom, hold for a second, and then exhale slowly. And I like, for example, if when we're done here, if you have 20 minutes, I'll get you up to a 4.5 minute breath hold in 20 minutes.
And this is just through these breathing techniques.
Yeah. When we're done with this, I'll show you how to do it. And you will get up to 4+ minutes for sure.
And how did you, so you've learned that you could go 3.5 minutes or 3 minutes plus, right? And black out. And then how did you have it in your head that you were going to eventually get to 20 minutes.
Okay, so you really want to hear all
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
It's a long.
I'll go. Let's go.
Okay, and I forget where I'm going
Okay,
sometimes.
it's okay.
Okay,
Don't worry
so you
about
might
it.
have to remind me where
Okay.
we're going.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just want to know the process because
Okay,
you're,
but
you're
it's a
a
long
magician by trade,
but
right?
But first of all, I like Houdini, so I
Right.
love magic, but I like Houdini, and Houdini was like king of cards as
Yes.
well. But he's a guy that's doing real things,
Right.
And then I like guys that are like, as I go to the Museum of Broadcasting because there was no
Mm-hmm.
YouTube or whatever, so I'd look at like these magic. You search magic, and I'd find like guys that would like drink a gallon of water, drink a liter of kerosene. He would float all the kerosene on top of the water, and then he would spit out kerosene out of his mouth, look like a human dragon, and then put the fire out with a gallon of water. So it is magic, but it's art. It's mind blowing. It's an art.
Yes.
It's a performance piece. It's not like it's incredible. Now look, there's guys that are card guys that are like that also. Like lots of people I love and respect. They do the cards in a way that's like, but that act to me was what pressed a button. It was like, whoa. Like, how is he converting his body to do a trick? And there's a guy today performing called Stevie Starr, who's called the Human Regurgitator, but he swallows crazy things. Like, so he combines magic with his ability. So he went on Jay Leno, I think it was Leno or Carson. He takes the little film canisters that you used to drink. So he puts a film canister empty, right? Closes it for the, you get the 35, and then he goes, and then he swallows it. So it's gone. And he goes like that, it's gone. Then he would take a bunch of water, drink that, and then there'd be a cup with a goldfish in it. Drinks the cup and the goldfish, and then he'd have Jay Leno sign the cap, the lid thing to the thing with a piece of tape and sign it, right? Then he'd take that and go, now everything is gone. Then he does these weird sounds and movements, which is part of his show, right? And then he brings it up, spits it out, and the film canister is sealed, and in it is the water and the fish, and it's sealed with the signature. So to me, that's like the coolest magic because when you see a trick, like, oh, that's cool, but it's a trick. So it's like you're being removed from being able to like absorb. But when you see something where somebody's doing something crazy and it seems like a trick, but it's also like, wait, this is real because he's really doing this. It's just way more exciting,
I understand. I understand. It's just, do you know how he did that one? Obviously, you don't.
I talk to him all the time. Yeah, I love Stevie Starr.
You know how it was done, but you can't reveal that, right?
Yeah, and okay, there's another guy, Tom Mullica, who he passed away, and this guy, he's the first magician I ever saw. He did a simple card trick, and I was crying. I was like in tears. I was like, oh my God. But he passed away, and I filmed that, and I'm going to do a really amazing piece about him because he is incredible. But he also was on like Johnny Carson shows. What he would do is he would take a pack of cigarettes, throw them into his mouth one at a time, light them on fire, bring them back out, and then throw them into his mouth one at a time, eat all the cigarettes. Yes!
There he is. So
and watch, he eats the cigarettes. Wow, that's great how fast they pulled that up.
It's not they, it's young Jamie.
Oh, it's you?
He's a wizard.
Yeah.
He's a wizard of
his
own right.
So he takes, by the way, this act killed him. So that's how dedicated to his craft he is.
Did it really?
Yeah, look, he was eating a pack of cigarettes every night on stage. I mean,
so
just
he swallows them and
swallows
then
20
he lights
cigarettes.
More.
Yeah, and then, but wait, he also throws them into his mouth. Like,
oh my God. So now he's chewing them.
Watch.
What is he chewing?
He's just amazing. But hold on, you gotta get to where he's throwing them into his mouth too.
Oh boy.
Yeah, so he throws them into his mouth one at a time. They're lit. He chews them up, swallows them. His mouth
poor
is
lady.
empty.
Look at the lady. She's like, what the fuck am I doing here? Oh my God. Look at that stack in his mouth.
And then look, the whole thing goes in. By the way, he also throws them one at a time, does all that, puts the paper in.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And swallows it all.
That's it. Oh my God.
Yep. He's so amazing.
So how did this kill him?
Every single night,
just
20
cancer?
shows a night at a bar, doing cigarettes in your mouth on fire, eating them, swallowing them.
Right, but what did he die from?
Yeah,
cancer?
Yeah.
Boy.
Yeah, but wait, so
he spits them out eventually, or he just swallows them?
I'm not going to give away his genius.
Right,
you
but
know?
in the video, do they ever come out?
No, they're gone.
They
yeah.
just
Yeah.
see. That's the thing. It's like I
But
guess
this is a guy that died for his art, legitimate.
Yeah, legitimately.
Yeah.
Wow.
But the guy I was telling you about, that's like my favorite card magician, the guy that showed me the Navy SEAL, but just an amazing magician, has a library. He's like this genius that if he came here, which he never would because he would never show anybody anything, but if he did and he showed you a couple of moves, like the first move he showed me was actually a card move called Ascension, where he makes the card float right through the deck. And like the greatest magician of all time, like card magician, said it was one of the greatest tricks ever done. You won't be able to find it anywhere because it's not a video, but he only does it to a couple of magicians. So he performs for like, you know, a handful of his friends. He shows a move and it's mind-blowing. And luckily he showed me stuff when I was young, but he'll never ever perform. He's like, does a painter paint so he can show people, or does a painter paint to paint? But whenever you're on the phone with him, you just hear cards. Like he's like and he's doing it. He's doing, I'm telling you, like 13
all day long,
13 hours a day. He's doing card moves alone. And I was like, Bill, what do you do? Do you like do the trick to yourself and be like, how did I do that? You know what I mean? But he doesn't believe that it's not to him. It's not a performance. To him, it's just about the technical love and feel of that.
Well, there's a Japanese phrase for that, about doing something over and over and over and over, the exact same thing over and over again to achieve a level of perfection that is almost physically unattainable to mere mortals. You bypass what a person thinks the body would be capable of doing.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's what he's doing.
That is the thing. Like if you can, you know what James Nestor is?
Yeah, of course. He wrote the book Deep.
Yes.
Yeah, Deep is amazing.
I don't know Deep, but
That's
read
a book he
Breath.
wrote, Deep. Yeah.
Breath is the one that I read, and I had him on the podcast to talk
He's
about it.
He's amazing.
He was talking about this monk that was literally meditating and doing breathing exercises all day long for 30 years. And could do these insane things with his body, like vary the temperature from one hand to another, change the blood flow, change it literally from one finger to the other.
For sure.
And that the only way you could get to that place is you have to be that guy who sits in a cave and does breath work all day long for 30 years, and most people just aren't willing to do that. But if you do that, there are some levels that you can reach that are just unattainable to a normal person, and even if you would talk to
but I agree with that,
scientists and doctors.
But it is attainable to normal people because when somebody gets paralyzed or something, right? I've seen people that the doctors say, you're done, you have no shot. And they spend all day of every single waking moment trying to get like a little just like a tiny bit of movement in their little toe. And eventually, if they do what you're saying, so it is that.
Yeah, it is that. But most people are not willing to get to that place. Most people are not going to sit there shuffling cards 13 hours a day like your friend.
Yeah.
But there's people that can do that. Like when I was watching you move the cards around, it's interesting. Like you ever watch a movie where a guy's smoking a cigarette? You know, that guy doesn't really smoke. You can kind of tell by the way he's holding the cigarette. It just feels odd.
But that's good. Yeah.
You're moving these cards around like your edge detection, like your understanding of where the edge. It's very interesting to watch your fingers move because they're so educated. You know, because of all the commentary that I do with martial arts and my years in martial arts, I'm fascinated by how different people move and they do the same thing. It looks different when other people do it. There's certain people that'll throw a punch and you just walk at it and you go, Jesus. There's something about the fluidity of the motion that's stunning even to this day. And that was just, when I was watching you move your fingers and watching you move the cards, like this motherfucker has shuffled a lot of cards. There's a weirdness to the movement of your hands.
But I think it's what you're saying. It's like the punch thing. It's like there's
yeah. But it's the mind forces the body into moving over and over and over again. You know, you do it to this level of perfection that for a person like me who doesn't know anything about cards. I don't know anything about card tricks. I don't know how they work. I can't shuffle. If you watch me shuffle, you'd fucking laugh at me. but I watch your hand movements. I'm like, oh, this is amazing. It's amazing.
But now there's guys that I'm around that I wouldn't even pull a deck of cards out of my pocket if they're near me.
Because they're that guy that does it 13 hours a day.
Yeah, like the guy I just told you
isn't
about.
That fascinating, though?
But there's also different aspects to it. But so like, you know, there's also guys. I'm not going to go into details.
Okay.
But I feel like I shouldn't even say this, but it's fine because it's fine. So I met a kid once who moved to Las Vegas when he was, this is a crazy story to tell. Damn. But it's a good story. Okay, I won't go into details. So he moved to Las Vegas when he was 12. He moved there because he wanted to meet a specific person who was considered the best card cheat ever. Meaning this is a guy that the reason that Vegas has those, instead of like the dealer peeking the down card, they have to put it into a machine and push a button. He's the guy that the movie Casino was built around with the computer in the shoe. Like he was the best card cheat ever, but among magicians, he's like a phenomenon because he's working on moves not to entertain anybody. He's working on moves so he doesn't get his hands smashed up against a wall at Binion's, you know, right?
Yeah.
So he's working on moves so he's not going to get killed.
Survival.
Yes. But
Yeah.
Right. So this kid at the age of 12 knows about him, moves to Las Vegas, and buys a craps table. He puts the craps table. It's him and his mom, right? The single mother and him. They live in this small apartment very close to the man I was telling you about. And this kid throws dice 15 hours a day on this craps table. By the way, their little bed is like under the table. You know what I mean? It's a small space, and it's a real craps table, like a nice one. The only thing he does is repetitiously throw and he can helicopter spin the dice so you can't see them doing this. They have such force going around this way that when they hit the wall, one die won't break the number. And he can throw it exactly to this part of the table, missing this from across the table so that one die locks in every time he can guarantee that number. He did that every day for almost a decade until he could throw dice better than any other human being in the world. Then he went and got a job at one of the casinos that techs for card cheats and worked in the craps tables. It's all he did. And as soon as he turned 21, he went out, travels the world, and wins the exact amount of money that he should win playing craps, where you're not detected, but you can.
What is the exact amount?
I mean, under you know, probably
under $1 million.
Yeah, probably a few million a year. So I'm saying it's not like he's going in and getting greedy. It's very smart and structured.
Yeah, and
that's
going to different
living.
Places.
And he can throw dice like I've never seen anybody throw dice. It's crazy.
I know that they take people that are really good at cards. Like my friend Dana White has been barred from casinos because he wins at blackjack.
He's probably just counting.
I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, he's counting.
But they've kicked him out of casinos because he's won a lot of money. But he's also lost a lot of money, which is bizarre to me that you can go to a place and do really well, and they're like, you're doing too well, you got to get out of here.
Well, they also, it says behind every table, we have the right to refuse anybody, which is important. Because,
but do they do that with dice is the question. Because I get how they would do that with cards.
Okay, so do you want to hear a dice story? But this isn't me doing magic. This is luck.
Okay.
Okay. So
I don't believe you.
It is.
I don't like the way you paused.
but I'm serious. I know, but I'm saying that because I'm trying to be convincing. Okay. So because I'm telling the truth. But anyway, I go to the Palms. You know Okay. And they had a bet on the craps table called the fire bet, and it was like a game where you have to hit all of the numbers, open and close, without crapping out. So when I walk up to the table, right away, the pit boss and everybody, they make a big deal, like, you can't touch the dice. And they're like, I said, you can call up. I can touch the dice. Because, they invited me. So I said, I can touch the dice. And because I wanted to throw.
Right.
I don't want to just gamble on a rant. So anyway, because even though I'm not cheating, I still feel like, maybe I have a little bit of an ability that's given, you know what I mean?
Right.
Not a cheating ability, but maybe I'm a little better than a random person. I don't know. Right?
Got it.
So the pit ball, they make a joke, and then the woman pit boss comes out. She says, well, if you take your shirt off, we'll let you throw the dice. Joking, right? So anyway, what I do is I bet for everybody at the table. And this, I go to the low stakes table always. So the high stakes table is that Super Bowl team right over there, and they're like, they're all crazy, right? Like all excited with these big bets. And I'm here with this table. We all have little bets, right? But I say, let's put a fire bet down for everybody. So I put the fire bet down for every single person at the table, including the dealers, the pit ball, with the dice. And I'm throwing the dice. And this goes on for 2.5 hours. I keep throwing the dice. I didn't crap out. I hit sevens in between each number, which
I don't know
can.
how craps work.
So you have to roll like a 5, let's say. And then I'm like, oh, no, I need to roll another 5, which is statistically much more difficult than a 7 because 7 is the most common number to come up. So if you roll a 5, you're like, uh-oh, that's hard because you can only get a 2-3 or a 3-2 on both dice or a 1-4 or a 4-1. So you have a 4 out of 36, so it's a 1 and 9. So you're probably going to crap out before you get the number. That's why the game is to their favor. So I'm throwing the dice, and it's 2.5 hours later, and they stop everything. And they're like, your fire bet just hit, right? And the table goes, what does that mean? They go, well, you all just won like 10 grand each. And they all go, ah! Like everybody's going, they gave me the taste. Everybody's going nuts. And we hit the fire bet, which they've now removed from the palms, by the way. But it was a pretty unheard of, like the odds of hitting that bet is pretty rare.
But it's just luck.
Nobody should hit that bet. I mean, statistically, it's unlikely, and I wasn't cheating. So, yeah.
So, do they, but the question is,
I'm lucky for some
dice?
reason. I'm lucky with dice,
right?
But I'm not. But I can tell you, I would be if I was great with dice. I'd tell you I was great with dice. By the way, I actually have a die on me.
Why do you walk around with a die on you?
I didn't even veer this story for this reason, but I do have a die on me.
Have you practiced with dice?
No. Yes, but I'm terrible at it. So, or do I? I do have a die.
But it does make sense that
anyway.
If you look at what that is, that's a physical thing. And then if you develop a touch, you develop a feel, you do something over and over and over again.
Well, this is different. But here, look, take the die.
Okay.
And can you like put it between your hand or whatever?
Okay.
Like and can you mix it like that?
Uh-huh.
And then squeeze it when you're done, or no, keep it hidden, but put it on the table, but make sure you can't see it and I can't see it. So you agree, like no one could see that, right?
No one could see it.
Are you sure?
100%.
Do you want to do it again? Try it again. Just no, because it could be weighted. So just, or you're done. You're good?
Yeah.
You're good?
Yeah.
Okay. Say a number between 1 and 6. Like pick a number up
5.
to 6. Okay. That 5 is what I said on the craps table, right?
Yeah.
But I already know that it's a 4. And the 5 is here, basically.
How do you know that? That's uncomfortable. Can you do that again?
Probably not. You know what we'll do?
Stop,
but stop whenever you want. Yeah, because it could be like a weighted die. By the way, that's how people cheat with dice is they also take the die and they flip it and they want it to be, so it's like you throw the numbers. So you said you wanted a 5, right?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Yeah.
It's 5. Get that voodoo away from me, man. The fuck is that? That's so weird. That must be a rush for you, though, just to blow people's minds like that all the time.
But see, so it's not, I don't think of it. So what happens is the digital fixation part of like the love of just like learning something new and exciting. That's like really the stimulus is like that fixation almost. It's like the meditative thing that you're talking about. But as a magician that is performing and trying to make TV shows, it's really difficult because you have to like keep coming up with new things, that's hard to do.
How did you first get on television? How did you convince someone to let you try this on television?
Well, so back in those days, the only magic that you could see, and like I said, it was you couldn't go watch it or get it or so there's no way to see magic. And if you were me with a single mother in Brooklyn or whatever, how are you going to go? There's no magic show. I never went to a magic show. So what happened was all of those World's Greatest TV specials were playing, and they were called World's Greatest Men, and I would watch them, and they were like the opposite of that. They were like hard to watch, you know? It was like glossy, big, like dynamic, and the illusionist is so far away from the whole thing. So I'm like, there's nothing magical about all this. And then, so, okay, I think about it, and I'm like, I go through, but I'm doing magic everywhere all the time. So one of the ways I'm making money is I'm going into those fancy restaurants in New York City, like those Upper Park Avenue thing, and I do magic to the, to the manager, to this, and I'm like, can I do magic to the table? And it's like what I did to you there, like do the magic, like, oh, that's great. I was like, could I do magic to the people eating? And I won't ask them for anything. I bought like a nice suit at Century 21, like $100 jacket was but anyway, so I go up to these tables. And that's a hard situation because it's very difficult to approach people that do not want you near them and try to figure out how to win with magic. It's and it's like even on the street, wherever you do it, it's like a complicated scenario. Once the camera comes up, it changes it because now they're like, oh, he has a camera, it's fine, right? But you'd have to walk up to a table of a bunch like us. We're sitting there, and some like sketchy magician kid right, comes up to us and like, hey, can I show you a card trick? And you and I are gonna be like nice to him probably, but not really want him around. Right. So what I had to learn quickly was like little things that are so important, like distance, like how close should you be to the table or how far. And then you start to really understand the psychology of the magic is way more important than the tricks, right? So if you're too close, you're like they don't want you near them. So they're like, no, thank you. If you're too far away, it's easy for them to say no, thank you, right? So there's like a balancing point just on where you stand and then who you do the first trick to and then what the first trick is. And so by doing all of this, I started to really figure out how to get reactions from anybody really fast. So I could walk up to anybody, anywhere, and just do magic. Like one time I was in central booking because I jumped the subway thing and they were sweeping everybody up. And there was 4 guys sitting in the middle playing spades. The only other like kid that looked like me that was in there got the shit kicked out of him, right? And I'm like, I'm going to get my ass kicked, right? Because I was with a button-up shirt, like, anyway. So the guys are sitting in the middle that were playing spades. I grabbed it. I go, let me show you guys something. I go, come on. I grab the deck of cards, and I start doing magic to the 4 toughest-looking guys in the cell, right? Within 2 minutes, they're erupting. And once they're erupting, everybody, because Central Bookers moved here, everybody's standing around going nuts. And then all of a sudden, the guards are there, and now everybody's watching together. And I'm like, this is what the magic show needs to be. Like whether you're like here or this, whether you're this, that, whether you're young, old, rich, poor, black, white, whatever.
Everybody wants to see it.
No, everybody's got a good side. Like I want to show that people are all the same, Like, sure, there's some that are horrific and do horrible, but at the core of everybody, there's like an innocent kid somewhere. Maybe he got really far lost, and magic just pulls that out of people. And that's why. And people say, "Oh, well, how could you do magic?" I do magic to anybody because whether it's like visiting underage kids in prison that like you don't know what happens to them and you see them come walking up with their eyes down, they don't want to look at you because they don't like anybody there that's authority, right? That's what ruined their lives. And then as soon as you do these tricks, suddenly they're like little happy sweet kids.
You get the O out of them.
That's what magic did originally to my mom. Like I would do it to her, and she'd be like reacting. And even if she had a terrible day, she was working 3 jobs. It was this made her happy.
Wow, that's a cool origin story. And it makes sense that feeling that you get. Like when you show someone, like the card trick you did in the other room, and everybody's like, "Oh!" the O that you get out of people, that rush, that is because at that moment, no one's thinking of anything else. At that moment, they're like, "What the fuck? How did you what? Oh man!"
And by the way, I've walked many times when people were fighting, about to erupt into big fights. I walked into the middle of those fights, started doing magic, and those fights. No, I know, and then the fights were done.
Because everybody's like, what?
Do you want to hear the funniest non-magical magic story?
Okay. Sure.
Okay, so after the TV show comes out, stuff like that, I get more known. By the way, so World's Greatest Hit, but then I was like, okay, let me do the opposite of that. So I called it street magic because I was trying to come up with the lowest name. Like I was trying to come up with set the expectations as low as possible, right? Because World's Greatest, and you see like, so I come out, I'm doing like card tricks, right? But anyway, so I'm like driving with my friend in his one of those smart cars in New York, and it's like the coldest day in New York. It's like freezing, like a February, like 12 degrees out type situation. And we're stuck at a red light, and there's a car with these 4 people outside of it, and you could see they're like struggling, like they couldn't get the door open, so they realized they lost their keys, they couldn't figure it out, they couldn't get into their car, right? But I know that that's not what's going on. Like, it's freezing, so I understand the situation. So I go, Doug, stop 1 second, and I walk up next to this group, walk up to the car, pull the door open, but it made it look like I'm just pulling it, but I was giving it the door opens up and it looks like I did nothing. And then I get back in the car and leave, and they go, that's David. And they go, ah! And it was like the best trick I ever did, but it was just opening up a door on a frozen night because I knew that it was just frozen. But that's the same as what magic is.
Right.
It's like, and there's a book called Magic and Showmanship, which is all about like what makes magic effective. And it's called like the ham sandwich. He says, if you just said, reach in your pocket right now, there's a ham sandwich, that's a good trick. But if you were like, man, I'm hungry, I would love a ham sandwich, and I had already put it there, and I'm like, reach in your pocket, and then that's real magic. So
Right.
It's just context.
That's where it's so baffling. Because then when people walk away, how the fuck did he know I was going to say ham sandwich? Like the folded car that you somehow or another shoved into Jeff's wrist, into his below his watch. We were all like, okay, what? I mean, I know there's something to it. I don't know what you're doing, but the result, the O, is pretty
It's
phenomenal.
fun.
But in that moment, no one's thinking of anything else.
Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
well, it's short. No, but there's
very-
also a lot of people that are trying to figure it out. They're skeptical. There's
but
all
they're
that.
still going, they're not, even if they're trying to figure it out, they're not thinking of anything other than that trick, that
Right.
moment.
Something. Yeah.
They might be trying to figure it out, but they're not thinking about, I got to feed the dog. You know, they're thinking about that
Unless
moment.
they're like good friends of mine. They'll do magic and they're like, okay.
seen it
another
already.
one.
But
Like,
that's
been there,
different.
done that.
Yeah, we can all get too accustomed to things. Yeah. So you first get on television, you first do these things, and then your magic evolves, and your magic goes from being just magic to some of the more insane things you've done, like standing in a block of ice. For how long did you do it for? 70?
Like 63 hours.
63
I'm always
hours.
late, so I showed up late. So I missed like the length of time I was supposed to do. So that's all. But I'm always late. I made it here on time though, didn't I?
You were early.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
But
I rode the motorcycle here and was flying because I wanted to be on time. So I flew.
You were on time.
Yeah.
The ice thing. What made you decide to stand in a block of ice for 60 plus hours?
Well, so I'll tell you that. So you were saying, how do you go from the magic
Yes,
tricks like
to
that,
these
to that?
extreme physical endurance and
So studying
mind
Houdini
things.
and all that stuff,
Yeah.
and then there's a poster of Houdini that I loved where he was buried alive, but he never did the stunt. He died before he got to do it, but he was going to get buried alive underground in a coffin. So I love that poster since I was a kid. It's like in the magic books, you see that poster.
Yeah.
And anyway, so Bill, again, the guy I told you about, Bill Kalouche, comes up to me and he's like, what about this? And he shows me an image of an Indian fakir that was buried alive for a month. He's like, what if you pretend to be buried alive in Central Park? We'll sneak you out and you'll come back a month later. And I was like, I always wanted to do like Houdini-like things, but I never wanted to copy. But that one he never did, so I was kind of like, well, that's interesting, but what if instead of doing it the way he did it, what if I did it and everybody could see that I was buried alive? So what if I was really just buried alive? Like, it can't be that hard. He's like, yeah, you can't do that. And I was staying at his place, so we got a coffin from Queens where actually Houdini was buried. I bought a coffin. We brought it back to his house. And then I would just practice sleeping in the coffin. Then suddenly, but then suddenly I realized you don't eat food. And then if you have a little thing to go to the bathroom, I did 4 days like nothing. So I'm like, okay, I can do a week. And that was it. And then I pushed the idea of doing the buried alive and convinced people to let me do it publicly. And what's funny is, like, firemen and stuff like would come to the stunt in the middle of the night and they would shine like holograms at me and their lights and stuff. And that's the ice. And then they would assume that I wasn't actually in there. Okay, so back to this one. Well,
But let's go. But let's not jump around. So the
Okay.
buried alive thing.
Yeah.
Where did you do it physically? Where?
That was in New York City on the west side. Trump had like this bunch of properties that he was developing, and I was like, I want to be buried alive on one of your properties. Is that possible? He's like, sure. And he just sent me his driver, and I went around, and that's where I did my first stunt. And it was.
How could they see you though?
And then Jimmy
I'm not aware of this
Niederlander,
one.
who I do, who like
there it is,
yeah,
like
there.
that.
Yeah, so it was see through, but right now, and then we put 6 tons of water on top of it, so that's basically it. And then, so I was there.
And how are you getting
Yeah, that,
oxygen?
well, there was see those 2 big holes, so the oxygen was being see the holes above my head right there, so the air was being blown in and out. But it's pretty straightforward. Like that one's not to me not that impressive. Like if I said to you,
you
have
just
to-
laid there for a week.
yeah. You know what the hard part? I mean, sure, you body and you lose weight and all that, but the hard part of it is and you would never anticipate this being the hard part, but if you're not used to like peeing while standing in front of lots of people staring at you, it's actually really hard. So I'd be buried alive, and I had the trucker's tube on and all that stuff, which is like a con with a catheter or whatever. And people are there the whole time. Like it suddenly became like an event, and so there was never like, and they were like, "Oh, we'll cover it so no one can see." I'm like, "No, then people are gonna think I'm sneaking in and out." So I had to learn. So I would close my eyes, like when you were a kid sleeping, and you'd have those dreams. I'd have matches in front of them, and it would take me hours, and I'd finally be able to pee, right? But then, and by the way, I didn't eat for a few weeks before, so I had no food. So that was the other wasn't an issue. But what happened by midway through the stunt, I'd be waving and smiling and like peeing, and it was like nothing, you know. But these are things that you don't consider when you're practicing in your coffin in your house.
So you didn't eat for how long? 2 weeks before?
Yeah. But I was always into fasting. I read Siddhartha as a kid, and I had done like a week with just water, and knew all that. Knew the body's really good with that.
So you were comfortable with the fact that you were able to fast, and that wouldn't be an issue.
Yeah.
And you were comfortable with the fact that you were getting air.
Yeah.
And where are you drinking water from? How are you getting water?
I had like a little bit of water in there that I could suck through a thing like that, and that was fine. It was enough.
How much water do you think you drank over the week that you were in there?
I don't know. They always say it was like just a little bit, but it was a good amount. It was like I don't know, probably 3 liters a day or something.
Okay.
Yeah,
So it's real water.
They say he did tablespoons of water, but no, it was like a normal amount.
So was
And then,
the
by
real...
the way, I did 44 days with nothing but water, and I did nothing but pure H2O. So it's not even like it had minerals in it, and body was full recovery. And my starvation expert, who's like one of the top guys in the world in London, my doctor at the end thought that I was cheating. So they
you're
put me
using
on an IV.
distilled water?
It was a
it's
company
distilled.
called H2O, and their thing is
Okay.
it's just pure, exactly.
Distilled.
Right. So
No
it had,
minerals.
right.
Yeah.
Which is irrelevant, by the way. But so I had nothing but pure H2O for 44 days, lost 60 pounds, BMI, bone mass index dropped 33%.
Yeah, people
organs-
that's what I was going to
Yeah, no, it was
bring
bad.
up.
No, it wasn't
Yeah.
good. Yeah, it wasn't good. But doctor thought I was cheating because he's a magician. By the way, my friends that were with me that are, magicians and the guy building, they're like, you need to take these vitamins. And they hand me a handful of sugary vitamins. And I'm like, no. It's just because if I'm going to do it, I want to like actually do it, right?
Right.
And if I would have taken those vitamins, I feel like my metabolism wouldn't have gone into starvation mode, and I might have had irreversible damage from it. So the fact that I actually did it, I went into starvation mode, and the body protects itself.
That's interesting.
But what I was saying is the starvation expert that now I have a paper published in the New England Journal of Medicine with him, which I'm pretty proud about. But he didn't believe me, so he put me on an IV, and right away the phosphate levels reacted, and I almost went into shock. So I almost actually did die when they fed me. So his paper is called the refeeding syndrome. They say like after World War II, when they rescued from the camps, the Jews and everybody was starving in the camps, and a lot of soldiers gave them like candy bars and stuff, and all of a sudden their systems went into shock, and they died from not being refed the right way.
So what is the correct way to refeed someone if they haven't eaten in
You
all
have
those
to
days?
slowly bring them back so that you don't have what happened to me, which is phosphate levels go all crazy. and
So
you can
very
go into
small
shock.
amounts of food.
Yeah, but then 2 days later, somebody sent me a trunk from Harrods full of food in London, like a friend, and And I was giving it to all the nurses and doctors because I knew I shouldn't eat it, and I was trying to do it right. Then, like in the middle of the night, I woke up and had like a bag of potato chips, right, and then a bagel with cream cheese, and I was wrecked. It was like the most pain. So I also didn't go to the bathroom for a month and a half.
What?
Think about that.
So how long does it take you to recover from one of these things?
That one I feel like I never fully recovered from, but
How
like
so?
I don't know. I wouldn't recommend anybody does that. Like goes like super long with no food. But by the way, so the recovery.
When you say you don't think you ever recovered, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, my body always goes like this now. It's always confused when I like train. I go up, down really quick, really easy, and it was since that. So
because your body freaked out because it went into starvation mode.
Yeah, I feel like that.
Yeah.
You know, but there's no way to prove that. But
that's a common thing though with people who cut weight for fights.
Really?
Yeah, they get to a certain point when they have kidney failure, and
yeah,
and then their
that's
body.
right, exactly. That's what happened to me, and I keep having problems with my kidneys.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and I have a spot on my kidney right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. That's funny.
That's a real common one with guys. Daniel Cormier actually had to drop out of the Olympics because of that.
I didn't know that.
His kidneys failed. Yeah, kidney failure is a big one with fighters. Kidney stones too for a lot of guys who cut weight. So that was probably, in your opinion, the one that damaged you the most, or left the most residual damage.
So the most difficult one was the ice, by far. The ice was a monster, and the reason why was because. And now there's also something great about it. So it was a warm November, so the air coming through was like, you know, it happened to be a 68-degree 3-day spread, which led to the ice keep dripping the cold on me, and it's radiating this way. But I'm also standing up in one spot completely still, and you can't sleep because if you fall asleep and you're present to ice, you get frostbite. You have to cut your skin off, right? So I'm staying completely awake the entire time. And it's a difficult situation. On hour 55, exactly I look back at all of it, and my friends knew, my eyes just go out, and I'm now hallucinating like you could never, ever. No hallucinogenic drug will ever give you those kind of hallucinations.
Like what was it?
First of all, it's amazing, but it's also when it goes into that nightmare part, it's scary. But there's also that amazing part of it. And if you have people after that stunt, now whenever I hallucinate on stunts, I have friends there that I say I'm going to start hallucinating. Just talk me through it. But so here's when I started realizing that I was hallucinating, because you don't know when you are, right? And by the way, the one stunt I never did was sleep deprivation. If you remind me, I'll explain that whole thing, but I'll forget. But so what happens is when I started realizing it is I need to know like what time it is, because I'm done at 10 p.m. because it was live on ABC. So I'm like, I need to know how much longer I got to go through this, right? Because it's getting tough. So and it's there. By the way, and my doorman would come and like news or whatever, Fox News said David Blaine is not really in the ice. They did a special on it, an hour-long special on Fox saying that I was never in the ice and I had a double of me that was in the ice. And I was switching up and down with them while eating burgers and reading
Fox
the news.
News
Yeah,
did that?
no, Fox.
Oh,
Fox, the TV station.
Oh.
Yeah. So they did, but they did a 1-hour special that I was never in there. So my doorman.
How do they get away with doing that?
I don't know. I don't care. But listen, so my doorman who comes to, this is the funny part though. So my doorman that comes to see me, he knows me so well, and he was at Buried Alive, and he's so nice, right? So he comes to visit me in New York, and he walks up to the ice, and he sees me, and he's looking at me all weird. I wasn't hallucinating it. He's looking at me all weird. Then he leaves. And then when I go back, I was like, "What's up?" He's like, "Are you sure that was you in the ice? Could that have been you?" I was like, "What do you mean, Eddie?" He's like, "Okay, well, it's So we go on. That special airs. Now he's convinced that it wasn't me, and the
special airs while you're still in the ice.
That's after. But he already thinks, because he doesn't believe it. My best friends, when I was Buried Alive, they didn't think I was really doing it. They thought it was a trick.
Right.
So he asked me, he's like, was that really you? Because they said that you were a double of yourself and you were switching it. I was like, Eddie, but you looked at me like, how could, if I have a twin brother, like where is that identical twin brother? And why why would I switch up? So anyway, so back to the when I get to 55 hours. So I'm looking around and I need the time. So I go like this. Like, what time is it? And the guy goes,
4:02?
yeah. So
Okay.
he shows me 4:02. So I'm like, okay, that means we have like another 6 hours or whatever it is, right? By the way, my time estimations are, so I'm like, okay, I wait. Or it might have been 2:02. I wait, and I wait, and I'm indoor. It's hard. I'm like, things are moving, everything's weird, spiders are walking up, people are like sitting in the ice. I'm waiting. Voices are talking to me that I'm talking back to, right? But I'm waiting, and I wait for like a few hours before I ask anybody the time again. And I see somebody, and I'm like, and the guy goes,
4:03. Oh no.
and that's when it all crashed out. It was like that connection, and then the hallucinations were just rampant, and my eyes were all crazy. When the chainsaw was coming through, I tried to grab it. Yeah.
So
yeah, see? Look at that.
Oh, you're gone.
But now that I've learned that sleep deprivation is one of the most amazing ways, if it's controlled, to go to another place. It's like the
I've
native.
heard that, but
yeah.
I want to get to that. But before we get to that, like while you're in there, what are you doing to occupy your mind? Like, were you using meditation? Were you just thinking? Were you just winging it? Like,
So for some of them, what I do first of all, yeah, a lot of things you have free time to think. Like, there's no phones, no
Right.
distractions. So aside from the physical, but the one thing that I use with everything is kind of like a breakdown of numbers. I'm like, okay, I have this much, I have to get to this point. Then when I get to this point, even when I run on a treadmill, I'm like, okay, I have to get to this point, which means let me get to the halfway point,
Right.
and I'll consider that. When I'm holding my breath, I do the same thing. Like, okay, I need to get to 15 minutes, so let me get to 7, and I'll start at 7. Then at 7, I'm like, okay, I'm at 7 left. I have to get to another 3.5, then 3.5.
Right.
And then what I always do is whenever I'm training, I always go past it, so it's the same thing. So like when I'm running a treadmill, I'm like, if I have to do, let's say, like, 3.1, whatever it is, I set that as my target, but then I always go like another half a mile past it, because you can't quit before, because then you'll be in the mindset that, okay, I can stop before. So like anything that I do, I use numbers to get there. I get halfway, and then I push the goal further every single time, no matter what. So it's a mathematical system, ironically.
So you don't necessarily have any sort of meditative techniques. You're just concentrating on the numbers.
Meditation for breath holding all the time.
right.
Every time I do a breath hold,
But not
it's
in the
all
ice.
No, the ice was kind of, there was like a breathing thing, and I didn't really know much about it back then, but I was like more like fighting it.
What is it like on your ankles or your knees and your back?
Everything swells up like edema really bad and all that stuff, and the pain is excruciating and unbearable. But yeah, you're waiting.
And you didn't have any residual effects of that?
Just my ankles and legs were really swollen.
Just for a few days or so?
Longer than that, but yeah.
Now, has anybody ever tried to break that?
I don't know. I hope not. Not because I don't care about how long. I just don't want anybody to hurt themselves.
But I would imagine like someone does something so high profile like you did that people would be like, I'm going to try that.
I mean, I think it's too weird, so people aren't really like, oh, I want to do that.
But there's billions of people. I would imagine that someone would step in and try to emulate that. Obviously, it was so...
I pray not, and that's why I pray my daughter never becomes a magician, even though she's so amazing at it, because if she started doing these things, if she's going to bump her knee, I'm like, I have a heart attack,
Well, that's the problem with being a parent, right?
Yeah.
The things that make you amazing are your ability to overcome adversity, and then you shelter your children from adversity. It's all my favorite people. They all came from a very tumultuous childhood. They all came from like turmoil, and no one wants that for their child. You want to protect your children.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's very weird. So what other ones have you done where, like, while you were doing it, you were thinking, what the fuck have I done? Because you're committed.
There was one that don't pull this one up. Don't pull this one up. It was called the Dive of Death, and I started to get cocky. I'd done like the thing in London. I'd done like the water tank. So I started to get too cocky, right? And I didn't have time, and ABC wanted the show really quick. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go upside down for 60 hours, 3 days, whatever, right? I was going to be upside down. And then some guy was in a parachute upside down on a tree in Italy, and he was in the hospital because he was 3 days upside down in the tree. And I was trying to speak to him, but he was like didn't want to talk at all. And then they were like, his situation's really bad. So it kind of like set the tone before I did the thing.
The situation's really bad, like
from being upside down for that long.
What happened to him?
I think the blood. I think it does. I don't know because I didn't get to ask. They wouldn't tell me, but he wouldn't also engage in it was bad. That I know. It was like in the news. It was bad. I don't know what the permanent repercussion. But so when I did this thing upside down in New York, I didn't practice it. I thought I could just wing it. My stunt guy who taught me to jump off the pole, he's like, you can never, ever just go wing something and not dial it in and rehearse and figure it out. You can't just go do it. You can't hope for luck. And that was the first one ever and last one that I was like, okay, let me just hope that I can do this. As soon as I went upside down, remember I said you could never prepare for certain things?
Yeah.
I had that catheter hooked up, and the first time I peed, it just went upside down all over me, so this way. And I was like, I'm done. So the whole stunt went downhill from there. That was like, that was a great learning lesson because I learned you never just dial it in.
Did you make it through that one?
Yes, but it was terrible. It was a garbage stunt. But you were asking me like what things. So that was one that was like, ugh. But all of the others, they were amazing. The team, that working with the best people, all of it. And this one is the most amazing. Like I have a team that's
the one you're doing right now.
I have the most amazing. I've never been able to have a team like this.
This is
ever.
the balloon one.
Yes.
Okay, explain this.
Okay, so I went to YouTube with Crazy Idea, who, by the way, this is YouTube, and they've been a blessing beyond. So I'm like, okay, here's what I want to do. Like, I want to grab a bunch of balloons and go floating up into the sky and disappear. Like, okay, great. Okay, sure. Right? So now I needed to ascend. This is all hypothetical. I'm not like a skydiver, like that has 1,000 or 10,000 or 20,000 jumps. I'm not a balloon pilot. I have no experience in any of this stuff. I just know that I want to do this, and I've wanted to do it forever. But I had drawings of it made 15 years ago. But now you have to get for real. So there is a guy that flies balloons, and there's a guy like Lawn Chair Larry that went up on balloons with like a lawn chair and a bunch of beer. That was his ballast, and he like popped balloons with a gun. So there are examples. So it's not like a complete hypothetical. This one has like, okay, so what if I could take the balloons, that idea, and just have the innocent image of a kid like we all dream of, just holding the balloons and drifting up and into the sky. Here, I'll show you a picture of it. What's that? What's that one from?
From their website.
From whose website is that, Jamie?
The balloon company.
Right. So that's my balloons.
Is that you up there?
Yeah, we did short flights, not big in public. We kept it small.
Can I show these to Jamie? No.
I don't know.
Yeah, to him, and then
I can show one.
Can you show it to the people?
Like I'm
no?
not sure.
All right, then don't.
Wait, that's my balloons.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
On
that's
Instagram.
on, but that's the end
It's
of
not
it.
him
So
doing it yet. It's just a picture.
Right.
Of the
So
balloons.
this is, but I think maybe not.
And-
But anyway, so okay, so it starts with just the idea of that. But now I have to go get a hot air balloon pilot license. So I go meet with the best hot air balloon pilot instructor and also flyer.
But isn't that the different situation than a hot air balloon because you don't have the ability to control?
You have to first get your hot air balloon pilot license. So you have to learn how to fly and land a balloon, which is amazing, right?
Pretty cool.
It's like so and then you have to take that written test. And I don't have time because I'm trying to do so much. So I had to cram study the whole written test in 8 hours with a guy helping me. I studied the whole thing, went to the airport, took the test, got that. Then you need to go get your gas restriction lifted, which means and very few people even ever bothered to do this because who's flying hydrogen or helium nowadays, right? So I went and met this guy, Bert Padelt, who's the best gas balloonist in the world. He's the one that built Around the World in 80 Days. He's built every balloon that's done the longest flights, and you fly. Now, a hot air balloon, you're like, right? You have to control it, and it's helium and hydrogen, you're just part of the wind. You're literally just floating away. and it'll keep going up to 84,000 feet until they pop there. Like you are just floating. Like I can't explain that feeling of floating. Anyway, so I had to go learn how to fly and land hydrogen balloons and use hydrogen because helium's more expensive and stuff like that. Now we have to go test the whole rig. So now, and at the same time, I have to also try to get as close to 500 jumps out of an airplane because I need to be really comfortable in the air. If I have to jump out and land, I need to land safely.
Jesus.
Right. And when you're up at 25,000+ feet, you don't know where you are. Right. So, yeah. So now, and by the way, the video, did you see the video I made for you? You didn't see it.
No. You made a video for me?
Yeah, because when you did the thing with Post, and you were, and Post was like, he's not real, and you were defending me, I was like, not that I was defending. Hold on, I made a video. I sent it to Matt. I texted it to him.
I didn't get a video.
He didn't show it to you?
Did you get a video? No.
Hold on. I made you this video. So this is me yelling from the plane. And by the way, this is after the wingsuit guys jump out of the airplane. So remember, I'm also crushing lots of jumps really fast. This is when I ran into a fence and almost killed myself. And Luke, who's the best in the world, that has 25,000 more jumps, jumped from 25,000 feet without a parachute and landed in a net.
I saw that.
Yeah. So he's the guy coaching me. So he's the one filming this. And he landed at the State Troopers patrol thing because we were so far lost. And I ended up trying to make it back, almost hitting the trees, really, really close, and then crashing into a fence. My legs were all bloodied up, ripped through the thing, flipped over, landed, and I was fine. That was recent. I was like, and the reason why is because I was making you this video. Complete truth. But I'm going to explain it to you. So to make the video, I had to wait till the wingsuits were out of the plane because they're last, right? But that means, and by the way, the conditions, you'll see what they were like in a second. So the plane's moving really, really far away, right? Because it's still going. That means the drop zone is way over there.
Right.
And I made the video and it was longer than I said it was going to be. And then when we jump, we're like lost in the clouds and I see the only hole. So I fly through the hole. And now because I flew through that hole, we're so far away from everything. And I should have followed Luke and went to the State Patrol thing, but I was like, no, I'm going to make it just back. But so here's the video I made you though.
Can we play it for other people?
Yeah.
Okay, here, why don't you airdrop it to Jamie?
Oh, yeah. Hold on. Okay. Hold on. So let me airdrop. Isn't that funny though?
It's pretty wild.
But you
I'm
don't
just
even
bummed out that I didn't get this before.
Oh, well, yeah. So I was going to like post it or something. And I asked him if I should. And he's like, well, wait, because maybe you'll just do the show. So I think that's why he didn't, maybe, or something. Like, I don't know. But hold on.
Maybe it got lost in the email or something. It might have gotten to one of those. The email dumps get pretty big sometimes, to the point where I can't keep up.
Is it Young James? Okay.
Young Jamie. Young James.
Okay, so that's that one. But then I'm going to show you the rest of the shot, but you might have to scroll through it to get to it. But I'll show you. But by the way, it's the most amazing thing. So I'll show you the rest of that shot. And then you'll see where he landed and where I landed. So I'm going to send you first the pretty version of it. You guys can like cut through or whatever, right?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm going to edit. I'm going to just send you like the full and then you'll look through. So here's another one.
When is this one supposed to be?
In 2 weeks.
In 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And do you have to take into consideration the wind, what the current?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Temperature.
and that's why we can't like confirm a location because winds
Right.
determine everything.
Yeah.
So even though now I'm at like, almost 400 jumps, the winds still decide where you go. Oh, here. So
All right, here we go.
did you get that other video?
I only got one.
Okay.
Just want to make sure. This is the one you want me to play?
Well, that's the first one. So I can do
Okay,
this airdrop,
yeah.
come back.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, check this out.
Joe Rogan, the breath holding is for real. And if you want to see a little bit about it, watch my last YouTube video. But Joe, I hope to come show you in person because that might actually save my life.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So, okay, but so you see the clouds. Now, hold on. This one's going to come. Hold
So
on.
you're hanging on to a plane. How high are you there?
No, that was just, I don't know, like 13,000.
Oh,
something.
nothing.
No, but I went to
No big
but I
deal.
went to 25,000.
I remember
without
you tell me.
oxygen. Yeah,
Yeah, but still,
but
you're still 13,000 feet off in the air, hanging
Yeah.
onto a plane, and you jump off.
maybe it's another one. Maybe it's this one.
It's hilarious that you're like, oh, it's only 13,000 feet, hanging onto the wing of a plane, and then I let go on video.
I know, but you need to see. I can't play it here though, right? And show you like this. We have to airdrop because it's going slow.
Airdrop is better because
Well,
is
first
it going
I'll send-
slow?
Well, I just want to send this one that shows like how spectacular, but I could just
Well,
send
that
this
was
one that's
pretty
not as
fucking
big, which
spectacular.
explains what's going on. So hold on.
Now,
But
wait-
which one? Because there's 3 young James,
The MacBook Pro.
young Jamie.
MVP.
But there's 3 MVP.
Doesn't matter. Just click one. It should work.
Now, when you decide to do something like this, do you get an inspiration, and then you consult people to see if it's feasible? Like,
Well,
how does this?
so that's where I was lucky. So what I was saying is I come up with the idea, and then I find a guy. His name is Jonathan Trapp. He's the one that tried to cross the Atlantic with helium-filled balloons, but I mean he has. It's like a full system. He has a basket, so it's like a real balloon, like a hot air balloon system with. So nobody's ever done it where they just float, where their bodies are the basket. You know what I
Right.
mean? So he had the whole system, and then he came and tested out, and I was like, "Could I go try it like this?" And he's like, "No, we're not ready. You'll kill yourself or whatever."
and you're hanging on to the rope?
Yeah, but I'm gonna make sure that I'm not gonna have a parachute on, and I'll have a system so I'm completely secure, so I'm not gonna fall off. But I'm not gonna wear the parachute because I don't want to be. I want it to look like a kid just holding on to balloons. So like
Right.
that visual is the important part. So the parachute's up in the balloons, but once I get above like 1,000 feet or so, I'm gonna put the parachute on in the air.
So you're gonna put the parachute on
And
while
then
you're
wha-
up there?
Yeah, and then I want to see how high I can go. See?
How high
that-
do you, how high
that's
do you
a
think
part-
you can go?
Well, so the highest thing on Earth is Mount Everest.
Right.
So that's kind of my goal, but I have to be careful because if you don't come back down, you're dead. So if you can't get down from there, that zone is like the death zone. So from like 25,000 to 30,000 is very, very dangerous. You can black out like this. So I'm going to do a couple more hypoxic tests and see if I'm right. I'll have emergency stuff up there like oxygen if I need it, but I don't want to
Floating
use it
around with you.
up there in the balloons. Yeah, we have like the. But wait, it's not.
Dude, your loved ones panic when you start plotting things like this?
My daughter asks questions.
How old is she?
and 9, and she asks great questions. And the tail number of the plate is for me and her, so it's N for number, but 9 for her age, 47 for my age, and then DB for me and her. We're both Dessa and David Blaine, but which is the balloon that has. This has to be a registered aircraft, so we had to get it registered. We had to fly it up. We had to prove that it's completely safe. We had to land it with nobody on it. So the body, one time that I went, wasn't me. It was sand that weighed exactly what I weighed. We had to remote dump the sand. We had to use squibs to remote pop the balloons, fly it over, and this is at 22,000 feet.
And
fly
squibs,
it,
what is controlling
pops
it?
a balloon.
But is it
Yeah,
radio?
like, yeah, exactly.
okay.
And I have the whole team helping me that did like Alan Eustace when he jumped and Felix Baumgartner when he jumped from the edge of space. So we have Don Day, the best meteorologist. So he
And do they
predicts
have
the
to
exact
weigh you before you get on?
Yeah,
So
it's precision.
exactly.
It's precision.
Mhm.
And then, so we had to fly it all the way up to 22,000 feet as proof that this aircraft is actually completely doable, and then remote land it exactly where Don Day predicted we were going to land it. And we've done that multiple times. We've flown it. We've deployed the imitation.
There's
I've
a
flown
massive
it. I've
amount
landed
of
it.
time involved in constructing one of these things and orchestrating it.
And time and team. And
Yeah.
team is everything. So it'd be like you when you have like the best trainers, if you had like your 5 best in the world like tweaking you before fights, like that.
So when you plan on doing something like this, did you bring this up to these folks? Are these the first people, the people that you're doing it with? These are the people that you brought it up to the first time?
Yeah.
Nobody said, get the fuck out of here with this?
Nope. Went straight to
So-
YouTube, and I was like, I have this
So you
idea.
went to these guys, and did they
and-
hesitate at all?
No, they're amazing. That's
or crazy. It's one of the
Right. It is also crazy
It's also
because it is
crazy.
just a
Yes.
hypothetical idea that's insane. That's
Yeah.
true. And they did let me but there were stages. I had to prove each step. So I had to prove that number 1, the balloon is doable. Number 2, I'm not going to hopefully kill myself. Number 3, I can actually get and then for the skydives, by the way, because I had to get 500 jumps really quick. And this is all during the last year, right? So insurance wouldn't cover that. I mean, they would cover it, but it's not affordable. So I had to do almost 500, 400 jumps or so with no insurance. You know what I mean? And so
Jesus.
that's a whole separate thing that's not related. So I had to go do them for my own as fun and do everything through my own. You see what I mean? So
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's all nuts.
Jesus.
Because you think of skydiving, you think like, oh, you have the best coach. It's fine. But there's still like when you're trying to do 15 jumps a day, it's like you can do what I did, which is try to avoid hitting an airplane in a hangar and turn too low and come whacking down.
And when did you come up with this idea?
I mean, I think it was like inspired when I was a kid. I think like the idea of like the little boy drifting around
Right.
balloons. So I think it was like, but I never really thought of it as a reality. But then 15 years ago or so, I had drawings made of it. So I started having, I'll show you the drawings. I can't open it on there or whatever.
So when did you put it into motion? Like,
It was never even possible until YouTube said, okay, we'll back this. Because the idea is like all of my other stunts, there's like the budget's very, not, you couldn't afford to do something like this.
Right.
This is to build, test a flight, build an actual aircraft, fly it, land it, get all the jumps, learn how to do everything, get all the skill set, have the, so this is, but that's the first drawing.
oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you drew this when you were...
I didn't draw it.
Oh,
but
someone else did.
Yeah, Mark Stutzman, who's an amazing artist that did my poster for this thing, which I'll show you. So that
Can I
was,
send this to Jamie?
yeah, it's not working, but you can try.
Airdrop's not working?
I noticed something weird was happening when he was trying to do it.
I can, but maybe the picture will go.
Okay.
If not, I
Let's see.
can restart the phone and maybe it'll work.
Was it showing up for you, Jamie?
No, right? Let me restart the phone.
There's a lot of... okay, now it says it's waiting. There's like so many
it
MacBook
goes.
Pros. You got it?
Yeah, there's
Okay.
3 of. Oh, it went?
Yeah, that one went through.
Okay, then I'll also send. Oh, but wait. So should I also show you the poster that I had made? Which
Sure.
is okay.
So you come to YouTube, powerful YouTube. They come up with this idea. I mean, they
They're
agree with
just
this idea.
They're
like,
just
let's
amazing.
do it. There's the
That's the original, but this is the latest one. So
Did you send that one to him too? Yeah. I'll send it to you, Jamie. It's coming through right now, supposedly.
I think it's like I have to accept them for some reason. It doesn't just go.
Is it showing up for you? No?
I think I should restart the phone because those videos too I want to send.
There it goes.
Okay.
How did you get it to go though? Which one did you press?
I don't know. There's so many of them. Doesn't make any sense. Your
But-
phone is being monitored by the government. They're cloning all the
But
text messages.
hold on. I want to try to send this video so I could explain making your video if that's possible. But now it's preparing it. So now it
Okay,
might work.
beautiful. Now it's going through?
You have it coming
Excellent.
right now? Because it says it's converting, so it might be coming.
We're waiting for an accept on this, so
Okay.
as soon as I get that.
So you bring this to YouTube. And how long ago was it?
Like a year and a half ago or something like
They
that.
say, "Yay, let's do it. We're fucking crazy."
Yeah,
and also, it's probably going to have 100 million people watch it, so it seems like a
I
good
don't
idea.
know. I don't know about that.
Oh,
We'll
I
see.
do. Yeah,
I don't know.
You're gonna float around in a fucking balloon, hanging on. A lot of people are gonna watch it, man.
I don't know if that's true.
I'll bet on it.
But this one by far is my favorite that I've ever done. It's the most visual, the most colorful. It's the first one that I've ever done where my friends are like, I want to do that.
Really?
They're not like, why do you do that? You
So
know what I mean?
you're
But-
holding
But you
on-
know, all the other stunts I do, people are like it's great that you're doing it, but that's crazy. Or why are you doing it? This one, they're like, I want to ride the balloons.
Because it's such a childhood sort
Yeah.
of. There you
Yeah,
go. Right
like
there.
so it'll be like that. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
So it'll look just like that.
And
I'll-
how is it? Are you harnessed?
Yeah, it's like it'll be like a little thing that connects at my wrist, which like the way the airless have a
And
connection.
then
I'll have
it's
a connection.
connected to your body, your torso somehow.
Yeah, it'll be connected somewhat.
Through your crotch.
Yeah, hopefully. It's
Like
a
a
nightmare.
sky- yeah.
Something. Yeah, because when you get up to like minus, 20 degrees or whatever, you'll be non-functional up there. So
Right.
you can't just rely.
Well,
If I
you
was
can't
gonna-
really rely on your hand anyway
No, I
after
could.
a
No, no,
certain
no.
point.
I was if I had to do this up to like 2,000 to 3,000 feet, I could because you can
Holding
also-
on.
Yeah, you can ascend. You can also do what just put something around your foot, like the wires could come down.
Okay, so something
So,
around your foot would
just
be
to help.
just to take some of the weight
just
off.
to
of it.
help. Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
doable.
Right.
Yeah, and then
But how long
basically-
can you actually hang though? Like
I mean,
it's really hard to hang for
really-
more than a couple of minutes.
It's hard to hang for more than a minute. I think like the record is like 2 minutes, but
What?
I
With
think
one
so.
hand, you mean?
Yeah, with one hand.
Oh, okay.
But this has to look this has to look like the one-handed
Right.
image of a person floating.
Right.
It
Yeah.
has to be exact. So
Right, you'd have to have some freaky
Yeah.
forearms, Popeye.
yeah.
style.
So I'll have assistants built, but I won't have a parachute or any of that stuff. That'll be above me, so it'll look really clean. But I'll be supported. Now, if there's a balloon failure or something like that, obviously I'm in trouble.
Obviously.
But once I get the parachute on, once I get to 5,000 feet, then we know, okay, he's not going to die. He has a parachute on. I can get away. And now the big challenge is how high can you go?
So once you get, how are you going to know? Do you have an altimeter on the?
I'll have an altimeter, but I'm also going to have a communication. I'm going to
Okay.
have full everything.
Okay.
So I'm going to have cameras with me for the.
Are you using a watch for the altimeter, or like what are you using
Well,
to?
I'm using this one called Dakunu right now, but it's big.
Okay,
so
sure.
no, but I've been jumping with Suntos and things
Mm-hmm.
just to check how accurate they are, and they're not bad. They're like off by like 200 feet or something like that. Mm-hmm. But on the landing, you don't want to be off.
Yeah.
Especially if you're like me, you only have 400 jumps, not even, right?
Right.
So and you're landing in dicey areas because you don't know where you are, right?
A gust of wind can throw you here or there.
Yeah, anything. But you also have to like not hit a power line or a building or an obstacle or anything wherever you are, right? If you come down into a mountain, you're gonna whack into that. It looks flat from here, but if you didn't adjust, you're gonna come in hard and that's it. You'll eat
Yeah.
it, right? If you hit a power line, you're dead. So yeah, those types of things we have to like. And which is why when I'm controlling the balloons and going up and up and up and up and up, I'm going to hopefully be fine.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
You're scaring the shit out of me already. So at 5,000 feet, how do you get the parachute?
It's up there in the balloons, and I'm going to pull it down. It's on like a fishing wire thing. I pull it down, and then I put it on. That's the only like really difficult thing as far as
Have you done
like,
this
major-
already? You've practiced that aspect of
I've
it?
practiced it, and that's like really scary to everybody around.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
they're asking me, why won't I just wear the thing? Like everybody.
Yeah.
They're like, you have to wear it.
And you don't want to wear it.
And my brother's really obsessed with it. My daughter's new question is, how come you're not wearing the parachute? But I'm telling her it's fine.
But you
So-
have you done this transition yet where you go from floating to putting the parachute on?
No, that'll be done live the first time.
Oh, Jesus.
This whole thing will
David.
be done the first time live, and I've never done it in completion. I've done all of the elements of it. So I've done the jumps, I've done the balloon flights, I've flown the rig, but I've never put it all together. That's all going to happen for the first time live on YouTube.
My God. And so once you get the vest on, once you get the parachute on, then the goal is to see how high you can get up.
Yeah,
And once
that's
you get
the part that I'm obsessed with.
when you get to the area of 30,000 plus feet.
No, you can't cross there. I
You
mean,
can't.
I just want to get. The goal is, if I get up to like 25,000 feet, I'm excited.
Okay.
Because that's where the ice. I want to disappear. Like I actually want the visual to be that I disappear into the sky.
Okay. So you get up to 25,000.
But I'm not going to kill myself doing it. So
I hope not.
I won't.
Okay. I believe you. But this one is different than
I'm
going to
have the O2
different
things. By the
than-
way, you can't send the O2 pulse oximeter signals down, so they won't know if I'm hypoxic. But I'm going to have the O2 monitors in my pocket. I'm going to put them on. I'm going to show them to the camera.
They
to-
can still communicate with you
Yeah.
through...
Now, if they can't, that's a big issue. So if communication fails, then this is, for me,
Communication is done through what?
RF, this incredible guy that builds all of the communication for every skydiving stunt movie. So he's
The same way
noodles.
that a plane can communicate with the ground.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, it's
Something.
yeah, and I have I have a transponder up here. I have everything. So the planes, I'm visible. Everybody knows where I am.
Okay.
We're clearing everything with the FAA, the ATC. So everything is going to be, completely organized as it needs to be. We have a wind path in every location that we're going to possibly do this in. Of course, New York is a dream, and there's some other dreams that we have. So this is still, we have a couple of key points that we're dreaming about doing this, and depending on wind and weather, that's where we'll do it.
And how do you descend? Just let go of some. You're just going to just completely
just
drop
release
off?
myself. Yeah.
So you're going to skydive at 25,000 feet.
Yeah. By the way, when I did I told you when I did that test, when I went up to almost 24/7 or whatever, I had the helmet on. The first breath I took, the entire thing was ice away. So, and I was flying down, looking through like a little hole in the helmet. I couldn't see.
Jesus Christ! And so, when you land, you have to land. I mean, you're from 25,000 feet. You have to make sure that you're conscious. You have to make sure that you can see.
That's right. But usually, by the way, even if you are hypoxic and you're dropping, you clear up at like 10,000 feet. So Luke Aikens, who you watch, he did a jump once where he was jumping with Felix Baumgartner, who he trained, and he was he was hypoxic. He was blacked out. But when he got to about 9,000 feet or so, he woke up. And then from 9,000 feet down, you have 40 seconds to figure out where you are and what you're doing.
Okay. It still seems fucking terrifying. And so then you're floating down, and you have to find a good spot to land. And when are you going to do this? Like, what's the official launch date? Is it
August 31?
100%.
Depending on winds.
Depending on wind. So if the winds are fucked on August 31st, you push it a little bit.
Exactly. And that's the other thing YouTube's been amazing on.
There it is.
Yeah,
David Blaine, Ascension, YouTube Originals, August 31st.
Yeah, that's basically what it's
I love that YouTube stepped up to do this.
But it is amazing.
It is amazing. Look at you floating above the cloud in that image. And that's literally what you're going to be doing.
Yeah.
That's so fucked.
But also the thing about this one, aside from like the technical part of it, is like the visual on it so far is my favorite one.
Yeah, it's like Up, like when they did it with the
but
animated movie.
But when I look at the balloons, I become like giddy. Like, and all these adults are working, and we're all like laughing because we're like kids playing with balloon.
It's like it's iconic. It's something that every kid has kind of thought of.
Yeah,
yeah, grabbing a balloon and flying
floating
through the
away
air like Mary Poppins.
Yeah.
Wow, man.
And that was my daughter's nickname when she was growing up. We called Mary, the real Mary Poppins. She was a real Mary Poppins. And we'd put a balloon up, and we'd always watch it and dream and talk about where it goes and stuff like that.
What is it like for her when you discuss these things?
She's so amazing. I run ideas by her. She's amazing.
Really?
Yeah, she's amazing. By the way, the reason there's pink balloons in this one is because I was showing her all the balloons, and she went, "Is there going to be pink?" And I was like, "Of course there's going to be pink." And now there's pink.
That's hilarious. Wow. Now, have you been doing live shows this whole time, or are you able to with COVID?
Not during COVID, no. Yeah. But right up to COVID, I was doing live, and that I haven't been promoting or anything, but it's like my favorite thing because I've been working on the live show for 20-some years, and I've never done one until like the last few years. Like started like 3 years ago. It was the first time I did, which is crazy, right? But I finally felt like I had the right material to make a good show. And the show is it's like I open it with the mouth sewing. So the first thing is like, but I bring people up, so it's also comical. It's like funny, right? I'm like joking around and stuff, and you see people like, react.
Now, when you say mouth sewing, you actually sew your mouth shut.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you do that how many nights a week? One?
No. So I would do 2 days on, 1 day off, but every day of a show means you can't eat for 36 hours before the show because I also have to put a gallon of water in my stomach. I have to put a cup of kerosene. But now I don't swallow the kerosene. I put it in my mouth now and spit it, so I don't swallow it. But on Jimmy Kimmel, I drank this stuff, and it's like really, really, that's how the guy died, Haji Ali, that I told you. So now I just put it in the mouth, spit it. But see, and then I do the frogs in the stomach. I put the hanger all the way down the throat to fetch somebody's ring. I do the breath hold every single night. And
How do
then
you- how do
I
you
push
fetch
the
the
ice,
ring?
and then I have them push an ice pick through my arm every night, which is like you don't want to hit a brachial, anything,
A nerve,
right?
yeah.
Or an artery or
Yeah,
anything.
of course.
So, but I let them choose a spot. By the way, I also brought the ice pick if you do want to see, because I know that it's real, but I should if you.
Oh, I believe it's real.
But I still, if you want
wanna
to see it, I haven't
stab
done it.
yourself
I
in
haven't
front
done
of
it since my
everybody.
tour.
Really?
Yeah.
Are you itching to do it? Is that what's
I mean,
going on
I'd
here?
like you to do it. I'd like you to do it just to see that it is like pretty straightforward.
Oh, I believe it's straightforward.
But I brought one with me, and I got the alcohol from the.
So here is
there's-
look at that girl, poor girl. And so you're stitching
Yeah, that's
your
the
mouth
mouse,
shut.
exactly. Yeah, but so see, so what I was able to do with the stage show is I bring people up on stage and I have the cameras with the big screen, so you see people reacting to this stuff. So
Yeah.
it's the magic plus the reaction, so you get that whole.
And this girl's really into it. Look at her. So you do this all the time? This stitching the mouth shut? I would imagine you would accumulate some scar tissue.
No, that one's easy, but this
Really?
one's legit. This one I
What is
used to
that
do
one?
it through the hand. This is the ice pick. This one I
Oh.
used to do through the hand,
pick.
and I developed so much scar tissue that like when I move my fingers a certain way, I get a shooting pain. So I stopped doing the hands and I switched to here.
That makes sense. Yeah, I would imagine that would really fuck your hands up.
Alcohol pads from your COVID test. So wait, so I might have to sit next to you or something.
Do you want me to do this to you? Is this what's
Yeah.
going on here?
Yeah.
I can come over to your side.
Okay.
But
Is
why?
that okay?
Okay. All right.
But wait, don't you need or you can put those on?
I'll just come walk over.
So should I take the thing off?
You can if you like. We'll both be basically talking into the same microphone.
No, but we can do it sitting.
Yeah.
But can you put those ones on?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Jamie,
Now-
does this mic work?
1 second.
Okay, Jamie will turn this mic on,
Okay.
and I'll crank this thing over to here.
Okay. So you
All right, it's
choose the
working
arm.
now.
Do you want the left or the right?
Let's do the right since it's right next to me. Okay.
Do you want them to come in and see it as well?
No.
Okay.
Good enough.
Okay. So now this is not a new ice pick, and usually I do it with new ones, which means this isn't as sharp as it needs to be. So
Oh,
it means
boy.
the push is going to be a little more difficult, I guess.
Why do you like to do this? You
Are
seem
these
to be.
pure? Are these ones that you give us?
Yeah.
Are these pure alcohol?
Yes.
Yes, I
I
get just
believe so.
100%.
I mean, they're just the standard ones that you
Yeah,
get.
It's fine, I'm sure. Yeah.
Oh, you want to
Okay,
make sure
so-
there's no scent in it or anything?
No.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that there's no bacteria in it.
Right,
you
but I
know?
mean on the alcohol strip.
Oh yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Why do you enjoy this? You seem you're excited about this.
No, well, first of all, it's amazing that you can actually do something like this, like it's nothing. So there's a guy named Mirandayo. Can you pull up Mirandayo, you think? So Mirandayo, it's this guy, and nobody believed he was doing it for real. And he would take rapiers, and he would have them push right through the middle of his body, through his lungs and everything. He would show on all sides, and then they would pull him out, and he'd be perfectly fine. Every doctor and saying, oh, you can't do that. But so remember when Steve Irwin died? Do you know why he died?
No.
Because he pulled the stingray thing out of his heart. The stingray stabbed him, and he pulled it out. Right, crocodile.
So if he's kept it in there, he would have lived.
Right after that, a 70-year-old man was on his boat, and a stingray jumped up out of the water, stung him in the heart, and then stingray was gone.
But
I didn't even. Yeah.
oh my
Yeah,
god!
look at that. Isn't that crazy? But the fact that you can actually do this is what's crazy. Like the body can, with your mind, you can override it. And then the thing is, he got so cocky, though, that he thought he could do anything. And then he ate one of these things, he swallowed it, and it killed him. He bled internally and died. But see, he got really cocky because he was like, I could do anything.
That is fucking insane. So is he going through his liver?
He can go through anything, and that's what I'm saying. So the 70-year-old guy that got the stingray, it stabbed him in the heart. Instead of pulling it out, which it's like a corkscrew, he waited with doctors, till it beat out the other side, and he was fine. You see?
Wow. So instead of pulling it out, he waited until what happened?
And the doctors waited, and with the heart, they let it beat out the other side, and they slowly let it come out.
It went through his whole body?
If they would have pulled it, it's like a corkscrew. It would rip him apart. He would die.
How long did it take for it to beat through
I
his
don't
body?
know, but I know that the doctors, what they did is they let it go through.
Guy. How many times did this guy get stabbed like
I've
this?
done that one, by the way, right there. That's a safe place. That's like not an issue. But when you go through the lungs and stuff, it's crazy. Look, it's crazy. But this is too much. I wouldn't show it. It's too like
That's
too
a
much.
thick fucking sword, man.
But that's what I'm
went
saying.
that one?
Listen, he's Joe.
Ow!
But so what happened was he started to get too cocky. He started to think he was fine.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
But okay, so Joe, but you have to listen to the origin of this trick, though.
That's not a trick.
No, but I know, but listen. So
Okay.
the origin of this is, as a kid, there's that trick where they do needle through arm, like
Yes.
right? And it's
Yes.
like the rubber, the stuff, and it sticks your skin together. And
Right.
It looks perfect. It looks like it's really through your arm, and then they like squeeze blood out of the thing. They pull
Right.
that. So I saw that, and then I was like, but maybe that's like actually doable. Like maybe that trick could really be done. So, like the same exact trick, but for real.
Right.
So that's this.
Okay.
Okay, so you take that.
Okay.
Like I said, it's going to be a little tricky to push through just because it's usually sharp, and this time it's not as sharp. But
And how do you know where to do it
you're
through?
going to pick.
There's no
Well, you
particular
just don't want
spot.
to hit an artery. You know, you want to.
How do I know I'm not going to hit an artery there?
I don't know. You're
I can't
smart.
kill you, bro.
You'll
What if
figure
you
it
die?
out.
So you want me to just right here? Anywhere?
Sure.
Where do you prefer?
Wherever you want.
Like right there?
Wow. Sure. I don't
No?
know. But yeah, do it there where you want. Do it where you
Well,
want.
when you say where out,
Just
sure.
go.
Like
Just
where
go.
do you like it to
Just-
go through?
did I
To
wa-
the bottom?
No, I liked where you were going.
Right
I
here.
like your. I mean, that's fine. But
It's
you're gonna
okay?
have to go like through.
Well, what do you want me to do?
Yeah, you're gonna push through.
Okay. So hold on to you here?
Okay, yeah, keep like a straight path.
Okay,
Yeah,
like
and
that?
then- no, I'd go straight.
Like that?
Yeah, I'd go
Like that?
straight through. Yeah.
Okay, ready?
And slowly. I'd go slow. Yeah. Here, lift my. See that?
Yep.
See? So, it's hard to believe that it's real. You keep pushing. Keep going. Keep going. Wait. Uh-oh. Hold on. Woo.
What happened?
I hit a nerve. You
Oh,
gotta do
Jesus.
it in another spot.
No,
Hold
no,
on.
no.
No.
We're-
Hold
come on, man.
You gotta do another spot. You were
Listen,
hitting a nerve.
Yeah,
My
but what if I
fucking hands were
fuck
going
your arm up,
crazy.
man, and then you can't hang from the balloon, and then YouTube's mad at me?
Okay, again.
Jesus, bro. Okay.
So, by the way,
By the
honest to
way.
God,
Honest
I
to God.
never go in this direction.
Which way do you go?
I always go this direction.
Why?
From inside to out. I'm just saying, all the times I did it, I've always gone this direction.
Do you want me
I've
to
never-
go that direction?
I'm just telling you, I've never
Is
gone.
that better?
No.
So what's the difference?
I'm just saying I've never done it this
Oh,
way.
okay. So
I'm
it's a
saying
groundbreaking.
crazy. No,
Okay.
I'm saying it's nuts.
Well, it's definitely nuts.
So hold my wrist again. Yeah.
Okay.
Good. No, but from the bottom.
Like
Yeah,
this?
like that. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I go again, and I would try to go like a straight path through.
Like right there.
No, I would go like lower and in, like just.
Like there?
I'd go.
Point it.
like that.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd go like that and keep. Hold on. Wait. Push. Yeah, like that. Like that. That's good. Yep, we're on a clean path. We hit something, but it's fine. Now,
hit
what I
something, but
use
it's
is this. I
fine.
use the skin here and I push so you can see it come through. Push. That's it. See?
Alrighty. Super unnecessary. But
But
yeah.
it does seem like a magic trick. Like
It definitely doesn't seem like a magic trick
But
to
then
me.
but hold on. There's blood vessels and everything. How
Yes.
come there's no blood?
Well, it's a very small hole in comparison to,
it's a good size.
and there is blood on the other hole.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's because it's that you hit something.
Uh huh. And your body's healthy, so it's clotting out pretty quickly.
Okay.
All
then-
right, should I put it out?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Pull it slowly. Go ahead. Pull. Pull. And that's it.
Okay.
So here, this is for you to keep.
I can't say I enjoyed that. That was very uncomfortable. But what's weird to me more than anything is that you seem to enjoy it. You enjoyed the freak out part of it.
No, I like what I said. I like that you can override your body with your brain to do things
Right.
that seem like they're not real.
Yeah,
It
like
doesn't
that.
seem. You know it's real because of what you do to your body. But
Right.
most people see all of the things they do and think it's a magic trick.
Right.
They think it's a trick. Like, okay, it's a trick. Like he's not holding his breath.
And you've done that thing with the sword where you've gone through your body?
Yeah, but it was not very thick, and it was through right here. I didn't go through
Okay,
the
so you didn't
lung.
go through the organs like this guy did.
No, but I think you can.
Oh,
I
well,
think,
obviously he did it.
right.
And swallowing this is what killed him?
So he got really. He thought he could do anything. So he's like, I'm going to swallow this type of thing, and then I'm going to bring it up. He swallowed it, and he couldn't bring it up, and then he fell asleep, and it ruptured his heart. He died. He woke up. They found him cold,
Oh, boy.
internal bleeding.
Jesus Christ. That is the thing about these extreme feats, right? Is that you possibly might be pushing the boundaries of what's physically possible, which means you could die like Houdini. Like Houdini died from getting punched,
Yeah,
right?
in the stomach.
Yeah. How does a punch to the stomach kill you?
Well, so normally, like I had Kimbo slice punch me in the stomach.
Did you really?
Yeah,
Ouch.
yeah. And then I had him do it again, and then I felt bad. I didn't want to make him keep doing it because it wasn't,
Right.
Because as you know, you can train to take a punch. That's
Yes.
obviously. So I basically had my trainer, Rich Beretta, throw heavy balls, kick me in the stomach, do everything, and I trained for a long, like a year, just to take a punch from anybody. And oh yeah,
Here comes Kimbo.
boom.
Oh,
And then I was
dude.
like, and then I said to him, do it again. So, and by the way, I'm not even in top physical. So I said, do it again. And then but I obviously could have kept going. So,
Boom.
And I did that
Oh.
based on Houdini, right?
Right.
So, but here's the thing. So Houdini would do this on stage every night, and it's a great thing in the show. It's like, look, bah, 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 any 10 strongest people in the audience, come punch him. And so these kids think he's invincible. Right? Like this is Houdini, Man of Steel, whatever, right? So he's sleeping in his dressing room. These two college kids. One kid's like, "Watch how strong he is," and they punch Houdini in the stomach really
While
hard.
he's asleep?
Yes, and as you know, that's dangerous because you don't have a wall up. So he ruptured something, but he's a workaholic. So the guy is in a lot of pain. Whether maybe it wasn't related. Maybe it's something different. Maybe he had appendicitis. Who knows, right? He's in a lot of pain, but he wouldn't let the audience down. So he wouldn't quit his show. So he did his show, and at the end of the show, he's upside down in the water tank, everything else when he shouldn't have been. He should have been in the hospital, but instead he did the show that night, collapsed on the stage, was not from the water tank, but right after the water tank, was rushed to a hospital and then died in the hospital.
And what was the diagnosis? What did he die from?
Well, it was 1926. So it was very
Right.
little.
Voodoo.
But, yeah, they
he
don't
died
know.
from
Yeah.
voodoo. Yeah. Wow. So that's the thing about someone who does something that pushes it to the edge like that. I mean, when someone sees you hold your breath for 20 minutes, what's fascinating about it is not just that it's hard to do, but that you might die.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, yeah. Or some people say, "Oh, how's he doing it? Like,
Right.
what's the trigger?" So there's all different interpretations.
But the worry, the thing that thrills people.
Yeah, it's like the idea that something could go wrong. That's why
Yeah.
everybody watched Evel Knievel, because he might wipe out on
course.
it, and he often did wipe out on his
Yeah.
bike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What this thrill of getting to that edge is very dangerous, right? Because you keep pushing.
There's
where
a
the
danger, but I
goalposts-
feel like if you rehearse and practice and
Right.
put the best team and don't just do crazy things without like a plan, then I feel like the danger is like, sure, the danger's there, but I also rode my motorcycle here, which is also
course.
extraordinary. I've lost a lot of friends on bikes,
Yeah.
right? So, sure, I get what you're saying, and I understand all that.
You seem to like thrills,
Well, I mean, I like adventures.
like riding a motorcycle through
Yeah, it was an
LA.
adventure.
That is an adventure.
Yes.
Yeah. It's. I mean, I look at people that do it every day, and I go, "That's a braver
And in
person than I."
California, you're allowed to like weave, dude. So that's kind of amazing.
In California, they're like, "Go ahead, give it a shot. Fuck it, you're here." You know, where do you see this? Do you have like a grand vision of your life in terms of like these stunts that you do? Like, do you have like some ultimate threshold that you'd like to get to?
Wait, we have to take a break. I want to make sure that I'm okay.
Okay.
Hold on. Can
Are
we
you
take a
bleeding?
break?
Yeah. We'll take a break. He'll be right back. So we got to clean up your wound.
Yeah,
and it
it's
was fine.
Yeah.
You seem to enjoy it. You really do. You were laughing while they were cleaning it up and checking it, and you're like, it's good, we're good. It was just, what was it? The blood? What was it that was bothering you? Like he's drinking all the water to prepare for swallowing a frog.
I just felt, too much of the magic becoming real.
It's the magic. How much water do you have to drink
I'll probably
to do what you want to do?
Well, we'll see.
What's up?
Do you have to drink it at a certain speed? Because I've seen people that can chug these. They just shove the whole thing down their face. It's almost like a magic trick in itself. They can drink it like a
Yeah,
second.
those guys that just.
Seems like
I
it's a
had like the
problem, too.
guy that was the fastest work on it with me, but.
How many do you have to drink? You've drank 3 so far?
Yeah, plus the 2 out there, but yeah.
So 5. You have to drink 8 total? Do you need a bucket or anything to throw the frog up in? Do we have a bucket? Ice bucket? That doesn't seem like enough fluid, though.
Bucket can't.
But this is
hurt.
an American flag bucket in the back, that big one.
Oh, perfect.
Oh, look at that. How convenient. This poor frog has no idea.
He's a magical frog. How do you know he's real?
He's real.
Well, you don't know. That could be a magic trick.
Well, if it is, it's amazing. You should sell these to people that don't want biological frogs, because that's a fucking live frog. I mean, he's looking at me. He's moving around. He's bobbing his head. He's trying to get the fuck out. He's making the thing with the throat. Look at him. He's trying to get out. That's a real frog, kids. No doubt. When did you start doing this? The frog thing. Is that enough? What if it overflows?
There was a guy called the Human Aquarium, and so the thing about most of the acts that I'm doing, by the way, like night after night, usually the people that did them, it was like their one act. So there was one guy called the Human Aquarium, and he was the guy that could swallow frogs and bring them up. But he would do it. You'd see him swallow them, and then you'd see him bring them up. So it wasn't magical. It was like a skill set. I would.
Right.
Usually what I would do is I'd put them in my stomach, keep them in there for like 2 hours, and then bring them up and freak you out, right? You see?
Right.
And I'd have a gallon of water in my stomach, so I have an aquarium. I have baking soda, gets rid of the acid, no food, 36 hours. And then once I drink this, we're at a gallon. We're at 4 liters, so just under a gallon.
So did you not eat for 36 hours in preparation for this? Yes. That's a lot of not eating for this poor frog's worst moment of his life. This poor little dude, Jamie. Just in case you don't think he's real. He's real. Oh, there's more than one in there. No, that's just him. It's just an illusion. I thought there was a little one in there. That's a decent-sized frog, too, by the way. You wouldn't want to swallow a frog that large.
Mark Twain has a quote. He says, "Eat a live frog first thing in the morning, and nothing worse can happen for the rest of your day." By the way, back to the James Nestor book, the one I was
Yes.
saying, Deep. There's something he talks about that's really amazing, which is in one of my favorite parts in there. He talks about how coral communicates. Can I read this thing?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, sure.
So he talks about, it's one of my favorite things that he talks about. It's so amazing. So let's see, where Deep. Okay, so I have like a bunch of notes.
What app are you using to read from?
iBooks, just because you could keep all the books there.
And you highlight things
Yeah.
with iBooks?
Yeah, of course.
I didn't know you could highlight things.
Oh, yeah. And then you keep all of your books here.
Right. Oh, no,
here.
I do that on my phone, but I
Yeah.
didn't know that you could highlight.
So,
I rarely read on the phone, too. I usually use the Kindle.
yeah, I
But
I only use, this is the thing I like live by. So it's like ruined my life, but also had it helped it somehow, I guess, some way. Let's see. Hold on, it'll take me a second to pull it up.
I just like the Kindle because it looks like paper. You know, the paper white ones?
Yeah, and they're easier on the eyes. This
Yes,
is
that's what I'm
tricky on
saying.
the eyes as well. Okay, so can I just read
Sure.
it out loud?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's part of what the Aquanauts on Aquarius are trying to find out. They're also trying to crack the more mystical marine riddles, like the secret behind corals' telepathic communication. This is so crazy when he writes it. Every year, on the same day, at the same hour, usually within the same minute, corals of the same species, although separated by thousands of miles, will suddenly spawn in perfect synchronicity. The dates and times vary from year to year for reasons that only the coral knows. Stranger still, while one species of coral spawns during 1 hour, another species right next to it waits for a different hour or a different day or a different week before spawning in synchronicity with its own species. Distance seems to have no effect. If you broke off a chunk of coral and placed it in a bucket beneath a sink in London, that chunk would, in most cases, spawn at the same time as other coral of the same species around the world, which is crazy. Like, you could take a piece of coral, break it off, put it in London, and another coral of the same species will, in synchronicity, spawn at the exact same time.
And they have no idea why.
The synchronous spawn is essential for coral survival. Coral colonies must continuously expand outward to thrive. To remain healthy and strong, they must breed outside of their gene pool with neighboring colonies. Once released to the surface, the coral sperm and eggs have only about 30 minutes to fuse. Any longer, and the coral eggs and sperm will either dissipate or die off. Researchers have found that if the spawning is just 15 minutes out of sync, coral colonies' chances of survival are greatly reduced. Coral is the largest biological structure on the planet and covers 175,000 square miles of the seafloor, and it can communicate in a way far more sophisticated than anyone ever thought. And yet coral is one of the most primitive animals on Earth. Coral has no eyes, no ears, and no brain. Isn't that crazy?
That's insane.
Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
But it's fascinating too that they just have no idea why or how. I mean, what's the mechanism for their communication? The fact that if something's under a sink in London and it syncs up with coral of the same species on another side of the planet, like what is happening?
I think like one of the most futuristic minds of our lifetimes is Jim Cameron. I think like Avatar and Terminator 2 and like the machines taking over. I think he's like I think we're gonna look back and be like, wow, he really predicted a lot.
He knew some shit.
The trees all communicating with each other.
Yeah. Well, have you read about the mycelium and the fungus underneath the soil that actually the trees utilize it through their root structures and they communicate through that? Yeah, there's some sort of a mycorrhizal relationship that fungus has with these trees, and they actually somehow or another communicate through each other as well. They're like using the soil, like this.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we think of soil as being dirt, right? But there's life in there. Yeah, all sorts of biological life living in that soil. And, and these trees and different plants actually through their root structure communicate and use the fungi that live in the soil. And it's very, very... Paul Stamets, who's a wizard when it comes to mycology and talking about fungus, and he's got some amazing work that he's done just his whole life studying mushrooms.
And it's like so advanced.
When he talks to you about it, like you just really get this feeling like there's something going on that we don't totally understand. Like the largest animal, but fungus is kind of an animal. It breathes oxygen, and it breathes out carbon dioxide. So
that's crazy. I didn't even know that.
Yeah. So the relationship that mushrooms have with the earth is in some ways more similar to us than it is to plants, because plants are breathing in carbon dioxide, obviously, and breathing out oxygen. So fungus
we're closer to fungus.
Yeah. Then they're living with these things, and there's a group of fungi, I guess, in the Pacific Northwest. It's the largest living creature, other than, I guess, like biological organism you'd say was a coral reef. But there's something in the Pacific Northwest that's fucking enormous. And it's just one interconnected mushroom structure.
Wow.
It's very heavy. Yeah, and obviously the right ones can bring you to God. The right ones can connect you to alien life and the future and tell you what you're doing wrong with the planet.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's something going on with these
touches
things.
into a different part of your consciousness.
Well, we're just very egocentric and arrogant in our ideas about what the human race means to the rest of the planet because we have this ability to manipulate things and send texts and emails.
Which is just about our proportions, basically, just because our fingers and our ability to But we think that's so important because it's so important to us because it's so significant. Like the ability to watch a television show or not be able to, the ability to fly in a plane or not. Those things are so significant that we think of them as being the most significant things in the world. But meanwhile, there's some animals like when you see a flock of birds fly in synchronicity in some sort of strange dance, and you're like, how the fuck are they doing that? Yeah.
And no one knows. They really don't know. There's all this guesswork. They're not really sure exactly what's going on. How do they know how to travel thousands of miles every season and go back to the place where they spawned? Like, they don't know.
Yeah.
They don't know. Like, how does salmon figure out a way to get all the way back to where they were born? They make their way all the way through the river to the ocean, and then when it's time to rock and roll, they get all the way back. And they have to get back to that one spot. They can't get to just any old river. They won't make it. They won't survive. They won't spawn. They won't do it. They have to get back to the place where they belong. And something in their little salmon brains or in their salmon biological system lets them know. And we don't know what it is. We don't know what it is, but we fuck up and we dam these river structures, and then they die, and they die off. Like the Pacific Northwest they had a huge problem with that, and they didn't understand it when they first put these dams in place. These salmon would just pool up, and they try to redistribute them to other places, and then they're like, nope, I need to go back to where I'm from. It's weird, man. Biological life is weird.
And amazing.
It is amazing.
And it's funny, you're right. Like we think we're so...
Because we can do things that other ones can't do, but they can do things we can't do.
Yeah, and
we just don't put a high priority on what they can do.
Yeah.
For whatever egocentric reason. Yeah.
But so I was swimming in Tonga in the Pacific Northwest, and I was with humpback whales.
Ooh.
And I was with my daughter, and we looked at the mother and the calf. Swimming. We were watching them, and it's the most beautiful, overwhelming moment. I'll show you after some footage of. But then I was alone, and I was like holding my breath and kind of free diving next to them. And when you're not on scuba, it's not. They're happy to be around you. And I'm free diving and swimming with the mother and the baby. And I'm looking at the mother, and I'm certain that she's just looking at me, but in the nicest way. Like, in the most peaceful. It's not like a shark eye that's like, whoa, this thing is like, you know. So I'm like certain that she's like, trying to communicate something like that. So anyway, I'm still on the same breath while I'm communicating. And I go like this. I open my arms up and turn to the mother like this. So as I'm swimming, I go like that. And the mother mimics, the humpback mimics me and turns right towards me and goes like this, right? So now we're swimming together, and I'm like this, like kicking ad fins on. And the humpback the mother is doing that to me, and I'm swimming in synchronicity with the mother, and the baby's following her. And then as soon as I'm like done from here and I go back down, she goes back down. And it was like I wanted to cry underwater. But yeah, it's like you think like humpbacks, of course, but also their brains are so much bigger than ours. But of course they're so. Yeah, I still have all this water in my stomach, so if I'm gonna do this, I might need to do it. So
you need another one of those? What is the reason why you need so much water to do this? Is it so that the frog has a place to be?
So the frog is safe. I've never injured a frog or anything.
I'm sure he feels very comfortable knowing that. Here he goes. Oh, Jesus. Did he hop right out?
Yeah.
He's like, I know what the fuck is happening here. Oh, hey, buddy.
Hold on. Let me just... Okay. So hold on.
Okay.
I just usually like to give him a little...
Get him a little bath?
Oh, yeah. good.
Okay.
So this is basically the technique, and I've put up to 10 frogs inside. Look, so he come.
Need more?
And now we could hang and talk for, as long as we
So
want.
how long does he stay in there? What's the longest you've kept him in there and they live?
Like 3 hours or so.
And none of them have ever died?
Nope.
Wow. That's pretty amazing. How bad do you have to pee right now on a 1 to 10? Anytime anybody complains about needing to pee, I'm going to show them this video.
It's the 10th one.
10th water. And what are they, 8 ounces?
16.
16? It's a lot of
so
water,
it's
bro.
it's more than a gallon of water.
Yeah.
Now, here's the magical part. It's like, I should
Right.
mouth empty. Then I have to, get him to swim up to the,
How do you do that?
I don't know. I just, did it and had fluoroscopies and looked where they were and then saw that and then figured out how to sort. I did sword swamp to,
Do you feel them moving around inside you
when there's a lot.
when there's 10? Jamie, your face. Here he comes.
No, I got it.
No?
First, I like to get a little bit of.
You forcing him out now? Can't talk.
Hold on, just get some more water.
When was the first time you did this one?
I worked on it. I started 3 or 4 years ago, and it's been it's
The first time you put the frog in your mouth
I got
and swallowed,
salmonella. No, I didn't swallow the first time. I just wanted to get comfortable with the
you
frog.
got salmonella?
Yeah, and then I got it again after I tried it the second time, and then I built up a resistance to salmonella. Now I don't
Oh,
think I get
Jesus.
it. Hold, let me.
That's good if you like sushi,
Mouth empty.
right? Here he comes. This is so bizarre. Here it comes.
It's because I drank so much, so it's I have to locate them.
You have to locate him.
Kind of.
The sounds. What would you call this, Jamie? ASMR? This is so strange. So for people that are just listening, I highly recommend you go to the video.
You're gonna have to condense. It's
No,
too
no, no,
great.
no, no, no. We're gonna keep this up exactly the way it is. People need to see. Oh.
Take out a liter of water.
My God. This is so strange. Oh. Oh, you spit on Biggie.
It's called the water spout. That's how I usually put out the fire.
Oh my God.
Hold on.
The frog is probably like, what the fuck did I do to deserve this? I bet that frog was just like an asshole person in another life. That's
Like
a lot
a gallon
of
of
water.
water.
Do we need another bucket?
Maybe.
Go get that plastic bucket in the back. I don't know if that's good enough, but for now, we'll just use that for now. It is quite preposterous to watch the amount of water that's coming out of you.
Oh, let's just get a little better.
Where's he at right now? Boy. You got him in there? Put him in my hands? Okay. There he is. Oh, boy.
Here,
Little fella.
just watch.
Little fella, you've had a rough life. You've had a road. You've had a road, Petty.
So that's the frog trick.
He's alive.
And perfect. Here.
Yeah, he seems fine.
Oh, don't lose him.
I don't want to lose him. Hey, you want to put him back in the jar?
We'll give him a big little. Hold on. Let's give him a little bit of water, fresh.
Okay. I think I'm going to need more than paper towels, Jamie.
Wash your hands.
Yeah, I'm going to wash my hands eventually. Oh, there is handcuffs here.
Oh, you have a pair?
Yeah, Jamie.
Real ones?
I don't know.
But is that just coincidental?
No. There was a guy, Ed Calderon. He's a guy who used to work with the Mexican police at the border.
Let me take a few paper towels too. Oh, come on.
And he he brought us some handcuffs to teach us how to get out of them, right? Yeah. Just noticed that they were there. Random.
Is
That seems planned. Yeah.
But that's really, they were just here?
Well, he gave them to me, and he gave me like a little tool to show me how to
Couple tools.
How to what?
how to open them.
What's this plastic thing
I have
on?
no idea.
But he gave you tools to show you how to open them, like how?
I don't remember. I'll have to go back and watch the video if I ever get
Yeah,
caught.
if you ever get handcuffed.
Yeah.
How to get the fuck
He
out.
showed
Oh,
how
like how
to-
to pick them, you mean?
Yeah.
How to shove it through the thing to kind of like go past the teeth of the lock to make it open up.
So how to pick them.
Yes,
Right?
exactly. Is it not going to work?
I don't know.
What are you trying to do there?
Just want to see, like.
What are you physically trying to do?
Oh, I just want to see if I can actually break them.
Break them.
Yeah, like break the metal. So, like, really break them for real. Let's see.
How do you usually do that?
I don't know.
You don't know.
No, it's like really hard to break them.
Was it usually easy to break them?
No, it's always very difficult to break handcuffs because you're breaking the handcuffs.
Right, but you're trying
Yeah.
because there's some sort of technique to it or something, using leverage.
That's what I'm hoping, but I don't know if the.
How many days of your life do you think you've spent fucking with handcuffs? If you could just boil it all down to time. 50?
Yeah, but this is probably boring for like anybody that's a thing.
So you're just trying to use the attachment as a leverage
Yeah,
point.
just that yellow thing.
Yeah.
That thing might be weird, that yellow thing, but yeah, I'm trying to use like it's like
What is the yellow thing?
I
we
don't
know?
know.
Oh, this is just how Ed brought them to us.
Yeah, I don't know if I can get these things broken.
Hmm.
You want to? We can keep talking. Well, now I'm like gonna be stuck on this.
Yeah, but you'll
thing.
be so preoccupied.
Yeah.
That frog's like, what the fuck just happened? Look at him. He's just sitting in there breathing.
He's chilling.
Yeah. Imagine though being a frog. You're like, well, this is it. I knew it was coming one day. That's why I'm so scared of bass.
By the way, they're these are the ones I get are like normally they would be like used for bait, you know. So I asked the guy, I was like, could you give me some of your, and they became my daughter's pets. So I've never ever injured or hurt a frog ever.
But how'd you know that that was going to be the case when you first swallowed one? The first one you swallowed, you probably had to be like,
Oh, I didn't start with the frog. I started with like bingo balls and things like that. And I would put them inside, see if they would come out. I started playing around. So it started with like, you know, how much water could I put in? Then how could I spout the water out to use it to put out the fire? Then could the kerosene float on top? Then I went to lamp
that's got to
oil.
be so bad for you.
Bad for you.
What is kerosene like inside your body? Do you feel it burning?
No, but
You
like the
just
problem
feel
is
shit?
the problem is all that stuff has a residue.
What is this guy doing, Jamie?
It's oil based.
This is the kerosene water spout thing.
Haji Ali, Egyptian fire eater and human fountain. Do you know of this guy?
Yeah, that's the guy I'm talking about.
Oh, there he is.
There it is. Yeah, he's
Oh,
amazing.
boy.
There's a really funny clip of, he's spitting the kerosene and then he puts it out with the water, which is
That is
underneath because
so
it floats on
bizarre.
top. Yeah.
Look how much control
Yeah.
he has
So I
of that.
saw that act and wanted to like figure that out.
What year is this?
Did it like almost 100.
1925, this says it was filmed.
Almost 100 years ago. He was
I
doing
mean, that guy,
Haji Ali, yeah, he was called the human fire hydrant.
that had to be a rough way to go. However, he died. Because he probably did that
this
every
stuff
day,
took
right?
a toll, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Forget those.
Do these after, yeah.
We don't need to do
They're
that.
very slippery.
So let me get back to the question that I had before you ran off because you were worried about your arm. Do you have like you've done so many insane stunts and so many really of these bizarre things that require so much of you? Do you like have a thing in your mind that you have to keep ramping it up, and that do you have a place that you would ultimately like to get to with these things?
No, I just constantly like kind of try to figure out like what things have been done in the past historically, and then I try to figure out how to make them interesting, and then I figure out how to make them kind of modern. So it's not like it's like it's a small step-by-step process, and I think about each thing, and then I try to put them all together.
But do you feel like you have to keep pushing the envelope?
Well, I have like a few things that I've been trying to work on to get to that place. So there is like it's not a push the envelope, it's just I have a bunch of things I've been trying to figure
How many
out.
do you have like on the back burner, in the back of your head?
I have two more crazy ones that I'm trying to
Can you share them?
The thing I will tell you is that if you put them all together, the letters all equal out like my name. So that, and that's, yeah.
That's all you can say?
But yeah, I think that's, I don't want to go too into it.
What do you enjoy most? Do you enjoy
Because I
doing
feel
these?
like if you talk about something too much, and then you talk it away.
I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. You take away the magic of like what he's gonna do what? Yeah. Like when it gets announced.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you enjoy doing these big things, or do you enjoy the live shows, or do you enjoy freaking people out, just random people out with
Kinda
magic?
just like all of it. Like, so it's not like one specific thing. I kind of love doing card tricks. I love doing magic. I love doing things from history. I love looking like the human aquarium guy. The frogs and goldfish and stuff that came from Houdini writing in Miracle Mongers all about his act. So it's like you look into the history of things that have been done, like Haji Ali, the human fire hydrant, and you find these. There's a great book that Ricky Jay wrote, who's an amazing magician, where he discusses and explains everything. You learn all these things, put them together, and then what I do that Ricky thought was amazing is and insane is like actually take these ideas that seem impossible but magical, and that's what the amazing part is, taking them from a hypothetical image and then learning how to do them. So that's like what's amazing about the whole process to me. And Ricky's book called Learning Pigs and Fireproof, there's so many bizarre but amazing acts that exist in there. So it's like you look at them and you're like, no, that can't be real, but it was real if you believe it was real.
How many of you are there out there? Like this must be like I always think of stand-up comedians as being a very small group of people that kind of only understand each other.
No, there's a good amount of amazing magicians.
How many?
Like,
1,000 on the planet?
No, there's
More?
a lot of guys that are
Yeah?
amazing. Yeah, and there's different categories.
But the stuff that you're doing is not just magic. What I'm saying is like this sort of
like the crazy,
yeah,
bizarre,
you're
mixing it all.
You're transcending magic into you go into this weird realm of what the
well,
fuck
the
is he
thing
doing?
is, I like to use the body as the prop. So I
Yeah,
like to
I
figure
get
out
it.
how to do things where like your body is magic, and I think that comes from like I didn't have like. Many resources to like, go get, which is lucky because then I was like, okay, so what can I do with like what's around? Okay, an ice pick or a bunch of water or
forces you
a
to be
frog
industrious,
or,
and creative. Yeah.
Not but like you have to figure it out.
But
know?
you also do you balance it out with like, I mean, you obviously develop some problems from not eating that one time, and you know you've got these stunts where they have this possibility of physically injuring you permanently.
Yeah. So I worry.
So you have to balance out the risks and the rewards. Like,
Yeah.
there's not that many of those people out there.
I hope not.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like the people.
I would worry about them.
Well, but you don't worry about yourself.
Well, I think I'm careful.
Yeah.
I'm still like. So we did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
10
So it's
bottles.
5 liters basically. So that's like I think that's in one shot. I think that's a record. I don't think I've actually ever done that many.
You never drank that much water before?
I don't think so. I think I usually cap at a gallon.
Well, it's dangerous, right? You can die from drinking too much water.
Water intoxication. you mean?
Yes.
Yeah, but I think that's if you like flush it out too much. But when you combine that with other things, then it's dangerous. So that's
Well, kids have done like in like fraternity when they have to do those hazing rituals.
Right.
They've died from drinking too much water. And there was a woman in San Jose.
Yeah, it is possible, of course.
I think it was San Jose where she was on the radio and there was a thing like how much water can you drink, and she wanted to win an Xbox for a kid and she died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's when your electrolyte levels get messed up.
Is that
and
what
your
it is?
heart stops working. Yeah, because yeah.
So your water there's too much water in your system and your body doesn't know what to do with it, and yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it flushes out and puts the imbalance off on your electrolytes. and
So when you do
everything.
something like this, do you make sure that you consume a lot of electrolytes beforehand because you're not
because
eating?
I couldn't eat or do
Right.
anything if you're going to do the frog.
And why is it
My
important?
friend told me, do not do the frog out here. He said,
Why
it
does-
sounds gross. I don't want you to have to do that because I'm going to have to listen to it.
It definitely does sound gross. But you feel okay after drinking all that water that quickly?
Yeah, but I spouted it out. Remember?
That's true. That's
Yeah.
right. Most of it, right? There's got to be a lot
Yeah,
still in
which
you.
was on purpose.
Yeah. Jesus. You're a weird man, David Blaine. You really are. That's what I was getting at. Like when I'm saying there's not a lot of people like you out there. I'm glad you're there. I really am. I'm glad you're out there. First of all, because I think you're very entertaining, but also because I love when there's a new type of person that I meet. You know, and I've met a lot of people, but you're in this new like, oh, well, and then there's this guy. You know, this is like a totally new frequency of human.
Or just freak. Take out the Quincy.
Both. But I mean, it's a very strange path that you're on.
I mean, ultimately, it's like at the end of the day, it's trying to just figure out how to make things that seem as close to magic as possible. And the process is really difficult and tricky and laborious to get to. But eventually you start to figure, oh, this could look magical if it's this, or this could,
But you seem like a very joyful person because of all this. You clearly love what you do.
Yeah.
Like, look at that. You're sparked up. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I do it.
No, you love it. Yeah, that's what's interesting. It's like such a strange thing to love to do. Stand in blocks of
what
ice
you
and
do
hold
is
the
crazy.
water.
You fight, you take
Well, I haven't
hits.
done that in a long time.
But I'm saying that's crazy. Like
It
you
is
know?
maybe, but
That's the same. It's the same. You're pushing your body to do things that most people. But you're living in a place where you have to override discomfort and you have to override what your body's trying to tell you not to do, and you push yourself. And it's that whole journey of pushing yourself to do things that you physically don't think you can do, or to set a goal. That's the best part, I think.
well, I'm fascinated by people that are really far down on a path. That seems really. Have we ever brought up that woman Stephanie Millinger on the podcast before? I follow her on Instagram, and I know I've posted some of her stuff on Instagram, but she's like a contortionist, and she has like incredible balance and core strength. And she's this very small woman who does insane things with her body. Like she did this one, she's on a handstand and she bends her back so that her butt touches her head. Like her spine is so flexible that you look at some of the things that she does and they don't seem to be like, watch this, look at this.
Yeah.
Watch how she does this. And look, and also she's bouncing on these posts, right? So but look what she does with her back.
Wow.
Look at that.
That is amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And then she stands with one hand and she by the way, she does this like off the side of cliffs and she's incredible. Like look at the way her body is contorting.
Yeah, that's incredible.
She's pressing her butt against the top of her head in the craziest way. Like it doesn't seem like a person should be able to do that. And the amount of physical strength that it takes to move your body like this and balance while you're doing it is just, it's the years
and the
of
amount
time.
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying. Like she's so far down the path. See if you can find the one where she bounces on the plates. That one in the middle where you see the plate. Watch this. So she takes this is like a standard Olympic weightlifting plate, right? So she puts it down so it's on its edge, and then she stands it on top of a bar, right? So you got this like this bar that was it's like a small chin-up bar.
Balance
yeah. So it's a round thing bouncing on another round thing.
That is amazing.
And then she lifts her whole body all the way up and over and does a handstand on this fucking thing. I mean, she's amazing.
It's unbelievable.
And again, always smiling, always like joyful,
Yeah,
loves this. But the physical strength that it takes to do something like that and the kind of balance, that's what I'm talking about. Like someone who's on this crazy path where if you asked someone, could someone do that? You'd be like, no, your body doesn't work like that. That's not how a body works. But it does. You just have to take these little baby steps for years. And then you look back and you're in a different place.
And then also you find a version of it and then you figure out how to make it your own.
Yes.
So she's like taken something and then made it like a whole new art.
Right.
Poetic. Yeah.
Yeah, or like Cirque du Soleil. Like whenever I go to see, I've seen most of the Cirque du Soleil shows. Every time I go, I'm like, what the how the fuck?
How is that possible?
What do they do? What are they? They're aliens.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
But they're on a path. They're just really far down on this path of extreme dedication, extreme focus, and that's what you're doing. You're just doing it with bizarre physical feats and magic. It's very interesting. It's very interesting. I'm really happy that you're around. I really am. I enjoy the fact that a person like you exists.
Well, thank you, Jeff.
And I want to thank you for being here too, man. I really enjoyed the fuck out of it. It was very cool. Very cool to talk to you too.
I've been wanting to meet you for a long time.
Oh, my pleasure. My honor. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So one more time, this will most likely be taking place August 31st, weather
Based
permitting.
on weather,
but we will let everybody know. We'll put it on Instagram. We'll put it on Twitter. And if there's any sort of a change, let me know, and we'll let everybody know.
Great.
All right. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you, man.
Goodbye, everybody.